listening to the Liquid Shape Podcast with your host, Cody Perez.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Liquid Shape Podcast. We are on episode number 28. I can't believe that. I am your host, Cody Perez, and
Mariah, Taz, and Lorenzo.
Yeah, and it feels like it's been forever since we've done this, just because we missed, a week that we missed? Last week. And I do, excuse me, I do apologize to all you guys. I was out on the road with American Overdose, and sorry, not sorry, but it's good to be home, and I missed this. Honestly, I've become so, we started this in January, and it's become just second nature to me to do this. And so when I didn't get to do it, it was annoying that I didn't, but I did get to happen to do my interview that I have for my guest this week. His name is Dan. Dan also runs Metalheads Media and actually did an interview for American Overdose with me and Justin a couple of weeks ago. And then it was cool because we got to swap where now I was interviewing him and he tells us an amazing story of his life. So he's going to be the guest for this week. So make sure you tune in to segment 2 to hear all about it. It's a very inspiring story, and Dan's a very interesting person and a very, very cool dude. I just can't say enough nice things about him just from getting to talk to him between him doing the interview with us and me getting to do the interview with him on his podcast or on our podcast. So make sure you stick around for segment 2 so you can hear his inspiring story. For this segment, you get me and Mariah and the boys. And I'm sorry, my voice is jacked up from being on the road, those climate changes and singing every night. And
your voice or your throat was kind of fucked before you left, so.
It was very jacked up, to be honest with you guys. Excuse me. It was already really messed up from allergies, so it was a real struggle. So if anyone saw us out there on the road, I was really, really, really pushing myself every single night. I did give you 100. I gave you 110% of what I had. Doesn't mean that it was 100% of what I'm capable of doing, but it was 110% of what I was able to give to you guys each night. And I feel like, just to talk about the tour a little bit, I feel like the tour was very, 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 very successful. Some shows were better than others, but we didn't play any empty shows, and we played for people that showed up for us. And we played with a lot of kick-ass bands, so shout out to all the bands. I was very impressed. I kept telling all of them. They did a really good job, the promoters, the venues, and the band, in promoting all of the shows very well. I saw them constantly tagging us, promoting multiple times a day, every day on all the various platforms. And I'm just very thankful for that. And I'm very thankful for people that took the time out of their day to come out during a weekday to play or to play with us also, and also to rock out with us, all the fans and the people that bought merch. Like, we sold so much merch. We took so many pictures of people. We met a lot of people. It was so cool.
It looked like a blast.
It was. So this tour was very different from the last 16 years that we've been doing this. This one was straight business. We had fun. Don't get me wrong. We had a blast, but this one felt very different. We were missing a few people that we were used to traveling with and having a blast with, some of our friends that weren't able to go on the road with us. But this one was just straight, get to the show, tear it up, get everything going, be professional, leave the show after you meet the fans and all that, take pictures and perform, get to a hotel, sleep as much as we possibly can, no screwing around, wake up early, get on that long drive to the next show, do it all over again, set up, get everything ready and going, and do it all over. So it was straight doing that. And where versus other times where we get to lounge around, or some of the guys party in the band, we get to screw around and just be enjoying the scenery and walk about or whatever. This time was just straight, get to the show, do business and move forward. And then of course, Rockfest. Oh my God. I can't tell you enough how grateful I am for Rockfest and everything that happened. The shout out to everyone involved, literally everyone involved with Rockfest, and giving us the third opportunity in playing. We had the prime spot. We had, just to give you a little breakdown of it, we had a prime slot at 3:20, and the stage was full. There was probably 3,000 to 4,000 people easily that watched our set. It was insane. I can't put into words the rush that I had. We've played a lot of big shows. We played in front of 1,000, 2,000 people before. This was the biggest show, easily, hands down, that we've done. And then people were already in line when I was setting up the tent for the merch before we even played, and they were buying stuff. They were coming up to buy merch. So I was selling merch. Once we got off stage, I rushed over to the merch line, and because I knew people were going to come over. I had no idea the amount of people that were going to be there. It took a security guard, because I was just in the moment of taking pictures, signing things for people, and giving them their merch while the guys were taking the gear off, because someone had to run the merch. We didn't have a merch person with us. And so it took a staff member to pull me aside and say, she literally says, how does it feel that this whole line of people is here to meet you guys and that is waiting in line? It was insane because I didn't look. I had no idea. The line just kept going and growing around and around. Like the video that I got doesn't even show all of the people. The videos that I posted, you can check on my social media. If you don't follow me on there, I'm on pretty much everything. So find me.
You didn't know he's back up and running.
Yeah, I had to open it up again just because the band, everything. Anyways, the line just kept growing and growing and growing. And we got to meet so many awesome people. So shout out to everyone that waited in that heat. I stayed in the mask because I knew that people wanted to take pictures with the characters and people in the mask. So I stayed in the mask. It was horrible because we were melting on stage with the mask on in it was like 80 something degrees, like 85, I want to say 86, something like that. And then it's humid out there because this is in Cadott, Wisconsin. And I stayed in the mask. It took about 2.5 hours or maybe a little bit over of people in line to meet us and take pictures to get through the people. I finally had to say, sorry guys, we're closing this down. Once enough people got once we got through everyone in the line, we closed up shop. There probably would have been a lot more people because that tent really attracts attention because it's a cool looking tent that we have, the American Overdose custom pop-up tent. But I was like, we've sold enough merch. We've met enough people. Hopefully we've gotten through the whole line. Let's close up shop and let's just enjoy the rest of the day and get out of these masks. And then it was funny how people were able to recognize us out in the crowd. Like when we took off all the makeup and everything and changed clothes back to normal, there was people pointing us out in the audience, like when we would be walking around through the festival, American Overdose, what's up guys? And like taking pictures and all that shit. So that was pretty cool because I figured that people wouldn't recognize us. But yeah, it was just an overall great run of shows. I keep saying this, like this band has so much potential to make so much damn money for somebody. If a label was smart, if an A&R guy was smart, if an investor was smart and they said, you know what, guys, I believe in you guys. I'm going to invest in you guys to buy you on into some big tours. There could be a lot of money and success for this band and anyone involved that invests in that. Mind you, I'm not just going to sign it off to anybody because we put a lot of work, like I said, 16 years of work into this and a lot more money than I can even put into words here. And people would be like, why would you do that? I put a lot of money into this band. A lot of people, both in the band currently and former members, have put a lot of time and energy and work into this band that's made it to be where it's at right now. And I couldn't be more proud, man. And I always give mad credit to everyone that's been involved in the success of American Overdose, whether they're still with the band or former members or former managers, former people just behind us. So I'm just very proud of this band. This was a real eye-opening thing for me that I do want to do this for. I mean, I've always thought that I wanted to do this for a living, but I definitely want to do this for a living someday. It'd be awesome if I was doing it full time. It's eye-opening as far as how much I love doing it and how much I appreciate the fans and how much I appreciate the people that I've made friends with over the years. Getting to meet people, like it was so cool meeting people that I had never met in real life, but I've been talking to on social media for so many years and then finally get to see them in person. Like that to me is the coolest fucking thing ever.
Heck yeah. No, I'm glad it was a very successful tour for you guys.
Yeah. We had a blast. Like me and the guys just joking around, clowning around, a lot of sleepless nights. So we left Des Moines, Iowa after we got done with an early show on Sunday. We drove straight here. I'm not kidding you when I say we did not stop to sleep. We stopped to get fuel and food, and that was it. It was literally stop for 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get the gas, get to food in the gas station, and then back on the road. So shout out to the band members for the guys for putting up with that. Me and Justin both just drove. And shout out to Justin for being able to drive in the middle of the night. I can't drive at night. Like my eyes just start like losing focus.
Yep. Can't drive at night.
You're telling people I can't drive at night?
No, you get sleepy. How many times have we had to pull over because I got to drive, which is fine. There's been a few.
When? Now I'm wondering.
Well, just after like out and about and stuff.
Yeah, I was just thinking like when we're in Salem or something and then I'm just super tired. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I thought you were lying. I thought you was lying to the folks out there. So last week I did mention that last episode I was mentioning that we filmed in video. For some reason, it did film the video, but now the settings, I have to mess with them on the podcast to enable them. And I've been trying to do that. I've been having some troubles. So I apologize to everyone out there that's listening. There is video that we have been filming or that we filmed. It just, for some reason, it's not enabled yet. And you have to go through a process of getting it enabled. And I will be working on that so that we can get video eventually on here again so people can see us and see the boys.
Yeah.
It's mostly I want them to see how cute our boys are.
They got their dog walk this morning, so
yeah,
they're a little more tame.
So let's hear about you. You were gone. I was gone for a week and a half or so, and you took care of shit here at the house. So let's hear from you, Mariah.
I don't know how exciting my stuff is, but no, it was fun. What did I do? I mean, just work. And then last Saturday, our friends threw a surprise grandma party for our friend Crystal. She's a first time grandma, and well, she will be in September. So we did, our friend Deidre hosted the party, her and Ty, and at Deidre's house. And it was like a Moo and Margarita like themed party. So it was a lot of fun. Played in the pool, just hung
Oh, I heard
out.
about you guys playing in the pool. I heard the titties were popping out and all sorts of shit. What was going on? Not put anyone on blast specifically, but there was titties popping out.
There was, I saw some boobs, yeah, but nothing wild.
Wow.
It was just us girls just being funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you guys
Yeah.
have different kind of fun than us guys.
I
Like,
know, because you guys are gross.
we don't start showing our balls around to each other. I mean, sometimes. But
I was like, I'm sure you have. Well, the guys have. I don't even remember.
you helped your mom out.
Yeah, last Friday I took off
Bad.
and went out to my parents and cleaned their house.
That's a very sweet thing that you did. I
Yeah,
love your parents,
I love them.
and I love being able to help them any chance we can.
Help,
yeah.
So I need to step up more and do that. So I was kind of disappointed in myself, but all is well.
Lessons learned.
Yeah.
Now you know to do that and help them out.
Yep. Let's see. Monday I had like a weird like health episode thing. So now hopefully this next week I have to get a brain and head and neck MRI and a brain MRI and then a head and neck MRA where it like looks at your arteries and stuff to see if you're getting the right blood flow and oxygen and whatnot to your brain. So TBD if Mariah's dying or not. I don't know. So
don't even put that out there.
Put good vibes out there. I'm not worried.
Don't even put that out
It's
there.
what it is, whatever.
I would die without you. What the fuck would I do? It would not be good. It would be bad.
I'm not. Yeah. So just double checking to make sure things are all right. Because I have ADHD, so I have a monthly appointment with my doctor. And so that was yesterday, so Friday, and I told her about the episode, and she was like, I don't like that. And so she's having me do all these tests, which I appreciate, especially in today's healthcare world where everybody just kind of dismisses you. So I'm really appreciative of my NP. I really, really, really love her. So she's really thorough and she listens and she's trusting a lot of patients, big workload, and she still took the time to say, wait, what? That doesn't sound good. I don't like that. Let me think of I'll get back to you on exactly what I want you to do, but I want you to get scanned. I don't like this.
I love that.
Yeah.
Mind your nose.
Hey, you get right now.
Reminder.
It's 9 a.m. on a Saturday, 9:30.
Yeah, we're filming because what are we doing today?
Aunt Judy coming up, and we're gonna go hang out down in Oregon City. They have their annual, what is it called? First City Celebration or something like that. So it's really cool downtown. They block it off and they just have a bunch of vendors and bands and all that stuff, and you can walk around and buy stuff and dance around the band if you want. Check out the restaurants. They all have like outdoor seating set up, and it's just
really fun.
It's really fun. Yeah.
I'm excited for that. It's gonna be fun. Judy's always a blast to hang out with.
Love Judy.
Fucking funny as hell. I loved that last night. She texted you and said, hey, I got a new documentary because she loves the documentaries of the craziness. I love the documentaries. Mariah's kind of getting back into it, sort of, somewhat. I love hearing crazy shit about things that happen around the world.
Yeah.
Mostly because it's good and it's eye-opening that there is a lot of craziness.
There's a lot of crazy.
And you need to be mindful of that so that you're not naive and you don't fall into some of these traps that some of these people that can play off as good people.
You just said it.
I know. God damn it. I just caught myself. Anyways, so it's good for people to be aware that people like this exist so that you don't fall victim of that.
Yep.
Like it's not it's not for any reason that people just do that. They put these documentaries out for awareness, and I love that. And it's hilarious that she hit you.
Really happens.
It does really happen, and it's like, whoa. And when she sent that message to you yesterday and you shared it, I laughed my ass off. I was like, yes, I bet you I know which one it is. And sure enough, we were right.
It was the one that we watched like the night before.
I fell asleep, so we didn't watch nothing.
And I was mainly on my phone playing my little games and stuff. So, but I just remember like looking up at the TV going, well, who the fuck is this person now? Like it was just one of those super big mind fuck. Like
Toxic Love.
I think that's what it's called on Netflix, Toxic Love or Story or something. And it's just like by the end, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. So we'll be doing that later tonight.
They got.
So we're going to be going downtown and hanging out, going the day, and then relaxing back at the house afterwards, watching the documentary.
Like, cloudy 74-degree day in July.
It's ugly out.
It is.
It's gross. I don't get it.
No.
I think we might have brought some of that weather back with us from the Midwest. I hope not.
But honestly, it's good because of all the wildfires and shit, especially in Central Oregon. So hopefully it's like this over there.
And then
so
we
the
have
firefighters can actually get it contained.
Yeah, shout out to them for the work they're putting
God.
in, man. That's not an easy job by any means.
No.
So shout out to the men and women out there fighting them fires.
That's right.
What do we have going on in the next coming week? We got some things coming up next week, right?
Like not during the week, but next Saturday is the On High Festival in Salem. So that's going to be fun. I'm kind of sad because Ice Cube was supposed to be one of the main band artists there, but I guess he had a scheduling thing, so he can't make it. But they have Big Boy from Outkast, who's going to be a part of it, which is all right. I do like him, but I love Ice Cube, so I'm kind of heartbroken.
I'm heartbroken too. I love Ice Cube,
but it's still going to be good because I mean, there's the OG Slightly Stupid, which I always like to see a little bit of, but I've seen him so many times over the decades that I'm like, they just get jammier and jammier, which is great. I'm just not a stoner, which no offense to anybody who is, like, that's cool. It just doesn't work for me. So it's just stoner music at this point I mean, obviously, but especially in their live performances, and their mics are so hot that it's hard for me to tell what song they're on and stuff. Cause I'm one of those, I'm like, I like to know I always like look at artists' set lists. I want to be able to sing along. Like that's just me, but that is just like, you're kind of vibing when you're chilling. So yeah, but the Elevators, Denim is gonna be there, so that's gonna be great. I love both of them. So, and I'm sure there's a couple others I think too, but
it'll be just fun just to be outside, live music, good vibes, it's just friends, whatever, and just hanging out.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how, because it's at Salem at the waterfront, so it's gonna be interesting to see how they hold a quote unquote festival, a 1-day festival.
We played a festival out there. It was a 420 festival, and they did a really good job of gating it off. And the sound and everything was cool. This was way back in like 2015, though. But I'm sure they've gotten better over the years.
Yeah. Well, I'm just wondering like what they're going to do, like how they're going to work parking. Because the downtown side is going to be a shit show. I mean, there's some parking garages, I guess. But I'm wondering if they're going to use Minto Brown Park and have people park over there because you can walk over.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
It's a little bit of a trek, but you can walk over because the Minto Brown's like where like I used to like run all the time because So I'm excited to see how that plays out. So, I mean, it'll be a blast regardless because we'll be friends, but.
Yeah, and then we have, we're going to be going to go see Lorna Shore and Motionless in White and Fit for a King with our friends John and Stephanie.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
On the 4th. That's going to be badass. I'm excited just because I do like Motionless in White. Lorna Shore, I'm familiar with the music, but I can't say I'm a fan. I can't say that I am not a fan. I haven't bought into it yet. John's talked them up a lot about their live shows, so we're going to see what the hype is all about. I'm going in there with an open mind. The Moda Center. So we'll be hanging out with our friends there, and then we have our show August 8th, our hometown show in Salem at the Grand Theater. It's going to be awesome. Capacity is 200 people. We're planning on selling that fucker out. So if you are in the area, I highly recommend you buy your tickets now because it will sell out. We always sell out our local shows, so I don't want people hitting me up last minute and saying, "Oh, can you get me in?" I will not be able to get you in. It's a location that is run by professional people, and they're not going to risk getting shut down because of someone trying to sneak people in. So get your tickets for that. It's going to be a fun show. We're playing with Proven and Pitch Black Mass. It's going to be a badass time, and we haven't played Salem in over a year. So anytime we play Salem, it's fun. It's a blast.
Yeah. And then you guys go to Cali when? You leave the 11th?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. We do have a couple of shows in California that we're doing the following week after that. We are going to California on,
I don't know if that's right.
We're going on the Friday the 14th. We'll be in Reading at the Dip. And then on the 15th, we're headlining a Black Bomb Metal Fest 13 in Sonora, California. So get your tickets for both of those shows if you can as well. We don't ever play California, really rarely ever. It's like been years and years and years and years and years and years since we played California. So this is your chance to see us. I don't recommend you miss this. I highly recommend you attend because we don't play there that often. We don't get down there for whatever reason. It just doesn't happen. It's a long drive, and we play the Midwest. It seems like a lot more than we actually play in California, which is funny because they're the town or the state below us. So
then a couple weeks after that, we have the state fair.
Yeah, state fair's coming up. Five Finger Death Punch is coming up, I think, with Cody Jinks.
Yeah.
There's a lot
actually look. Does the State Fair have anybody good playing this year?
I don't know.
I know they have like Weird Al Yankovic, but I'm like,
But it's free. I believe you get in for free, right?
I know. I just don't know that that's someone I would want to see.
I wouldn't mind.
I mean, he's funny.
He's
but-
old school. He's from
he's
from the
super
old
I think
days.
that's why I'm like, well,
All right. Well, anything else before we get into the question of the week?
I think that's it.
All right. So let's get to it. Lots of great responses this week. So thank you guys all for this. First, let's get to the question. First of all, question of the week. What belief about life have you changed your mind about as you've gotten older? And then some follow-up questions are, what caused that shift? How has that change affected your relationships or goals? Is there another belief you're currently questioning? I'll let you go first because we usually read them off first, but I feel like we end up sounding like we're copying the responses, which we're definitely not. But we relate to our audience. Honestly, we relate to our audience a lot, which is cool, and I love that. So I'll let you go first because I know you had something in mind, and I'll let you share, and then I'll share. And then we'll read the responses.
Yep. Let me see. So for me, what belief about life I changed my mind about as I've gotten older? Mine is definitely the climb the ladder, the go to school, getting fucking student loan debt, climb the ladder, make something of yourself, blah, blah, blah. Fuck that shit. Fuck it. Corporate sucks. Businesses suck. They don't give a shit about employees. They keep taking benefits away, reducing benefits, all this shit. And it's just, you know what? What am I breaking my fucking back for? I'm not. So I just want where I'm sitting pretty, where I just show up, I do my job, I get my fucking paycheck. Obviously, I want to make enough to be able to live life and travel and stuff, which I do, thankfully. And I want to be able to, when I'm off, when 5:30 rolls around, bye. Don't call me. I won't call you. That's a fucking tomorrow problem. And I have people all the time like, well, don't you want to be a manager? Fuck no. No, because then you've sold your soul to that company for dick. Like weekends, evenings, like you're always on for the most part. I know probably not every company, but for the most part, there's always fucking something, a fire, you know? So I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be stressed out for nothing. Like there's more to life than fucking busting your ass and dying for a job. Like
for $1.
For a fucking dollar.
And I don't mean that literally for $1. I mean that like for money in general.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's just, I am just tired of it. Especially like now in my early 40s, I'm like, I don't want to live like that. My family, I want to be with my family. I want to have peace. I don't want to be stressed out. I don't want to be putting out fires because adults can't act like adults and everybody's childish and still has that high school mentality and they're gonna mean girl and be rude to everybody and like it's just I just don't want drama. It's so fucking annoying. Grow the fuck up. What caused that shift? Obviously, I think again just age and just being in corporate as long as I have and just every company I have or every company I've worked for. I mean, my whole life, it's always a shit show. There's always crap. So it's like, why are we like burying ourselves, like ruining ourselves, our health, our well-being, our mental health for these companies that don't give a fuck about you? When it comes down to their bottom line, if they got to cut you, they're going to cut you. No matter the blood, sweat, tears, the amount of work you put in, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that's why I say it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of life. When you die, is everybody gonna be like, oh, Mariah, who worked in employee relations, really blah, blah? No, I would hope not. I hope it's, hey, Mariah, she'd walk in a room and you knew she was there and it was fun and she was a good person. Like, I want that to be my legacy, not this bullshit job that I have. Who gives a shit?
I love that. I'm 100% behind all of that. And I agree with you on that. And I myself have preached this to other people because I see it happen with others where they get so soaked into their job. And I'm like, stop that. That company doesn't care about you. I don't care where you are. You could be a manager. You can be a VP. You can be whatever. That company will cut you the minute that they don't need you or they find out that, well, we need to reduce here. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about your family. If you were to get sick, and let's say you're a VP, for example, let's say you're a VP. If you're to get sick and you're not able to perform at the level that they absolutely need, which means you dedicate every hour, every minute of your life to them, they're going to reduce you. What they'll do is they will bring you down to a special quote unquote project. And what that usually means is they're about ready to give you the door. So,
yeah. Well, and that's just it too. It was always like, at least I don't know about everybody else, but at least like the millennials and stuff. It's like, I just remember everything's like, oh, you got to make the top salary, top salary. It's all about money. It's all about the house. It's all about materialistic shit. I don't want to be tied to materialistic shit, so I have to be tied to a job that's ruining my life. I don't care. I don't want to do that. I don't care about materialistic shit. My car is my car. My house is my house. Like, how am I as a person? How do I treat people? Like, let's get back to that. Let's get out of this materialistic money bullshit because it's evil, ultimately, in my opinion. Is there another belief you're currently questioning? I'm sure. I don't know about one I can think of at the moment, but that was my one that came to my mind was the whole being sold this dream, like climb the ladder, climb the ladder. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The higher your position, the more you make, the more tied you are to that company.
I think the more you make, the less you make. Think about that.
Well, no, yeah, yes, the less you make for sure, but the more tied you are to that company because the more on you have to be at all times.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. Even outside of 8 to 5 or whatever.
When they offer you these huge ass salaries, you're actually making less because you're dedicating even more. If you break down
more, if you broke it down hourly,
minute by minute, you're actually making less, and then you're losing those special moments that actually do matter with your family and friends. And who wants to live that way, man?
I don't.
Who wants to live that way?
Your turn.
Well, since you stole.
No,
I know you didn't steal mine. I know you didn't steal mine. I know you didn't steal mine, but I 100% back yours up and agree with you. And I would have said probably the same thing. I will go ahead and say the lie that I feel that I was sold was that, I mean, it's very similar to yours.
Yeah. I'm sure
fame and fortune matter, especially with doing the music thing. Everyone wants to tie everything to numbers. Everyone wants to tie everything to dollar amounts and what is success. And people say, well, aren't you getting a little old for the whole rock star thing? Or how much money has that made you or anything? I don't care about any of that stuff. I've made money. I've made money with the band. Like, I can tell you right now, like we did a tour one time. We invested, mind you, we invested a lot of money into it, but we sold about $17,000 worth of merch in 30 days. But we bought into a lot of the stuff that we had to do for that tour. So it kind of evened itself out. We might have made a couple thousand in there for the band, but I've made money with my job, my day jobs, lots of money. I've worked at a bar as a bartender where I was making tons of cash. You know what I was doing with that cash when I was a bartender?
Blowing it.
I was blowing it on stupid shit. I was blowing it on partying. I would every night. Strip clubs, gambling, drinks, buying other people drinks. I had a car that I was driving that was a badass Lancer Evo. My monthly payments were like $800. My insurance was no joke, $700 a month. And why? And the car ended up breaking down eventually on me, and it was
Mitsubishi.
Yes, it was a shit show. And what did it do for me? What did it serve me? It served me some memories, sure. But I was constantly chasing that dollar, and it took me out of doing music. When I was working that job, making all that money, it took me out of doing music for 2 years. It really sucked. And after that, that's when I started American Overdose. Shortly right after that I got out of that job, and I realized that money is not everything that matters. Did I learn it then in the moment? No, not necessarily. It took some time. It's actually only taken the last 5 years maybe where I've realized that it doesn't matter and materialistic shit doesn't matter to me. Like, yes, I like to wear nice clothes and wear great cologne. It's spendy and whatnot, but at the end of the day, I don't care what I drive. My house is really nice, I believe, but it's not humongous. I don't need it. We have 2 dogs, the little dogs, and me and you.
More fucking house.
More yard work and all that shit. I don't care about any of that stuff. That stuff does not matter to me. When people ask me like, well, what does success mean to you with American Overdose or the band thing? I feel like when people ask, what would you do if you made it, or what is making it to you? I feel like I've already made it. What I mean by that is that there is people all over the world that are aware of who the band is.
Well, there's people all over the world that listen to this podcast too.
There's people all over the world that listen to this podcast. There's people that buy our music from all over the world that stream it. I see the numbers. I get to see all that stuff. People come out to our shows, whether it's 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, whatever. I'm just appreciative that people care and people come out and see us and that want to make memories with us. That's the shit that matters to me. What matters to me is building those connections with people, giving people a reason to smile and reason to believe in themselves and invest in themselves and be motivated to make their dreams come true. Because guess what? I came from fucking nothing. We were poor. My brother and I, Pito, the vocalist, very fucking poor. Growing up, my mom did everything she could for us. My grandma did too. And to provide for us, my mom worked 3 jobs. And I think that my grandma and my mom instilled the hard work into us because we wake up really early and we work for everything that we have. Never been handed anything in our lives. We've worked our asses off and we continue to. We are humble. We appreciate what we have. And to me, what making it is just being happy with and appreciative of what you have. And I want the numbers to continue growing, so I will continue pushing it. And I'm going to keep doing this until I fucking am in my deathbed. I literally tell people that when I say I will do music until I'm dead. And when I die, my music's going to live on because my recordings, my lyrics, my words, my thoughts, my posts, my everything, my memories that I have with people will share the videos and all that stuff. And they will remember that. So I would say that I've already made it. I don't need to have the $1 million house. I don't need to be touring every fucking, like some bands that just constantly are on the road. I would love to be on the road, but I'm not going to go on the road and just continuously put myself in debt for something. If we get the right opportunities arise, I will take them. But I feel like I've already made it. This band is already bigger than I could have hoped for, and it will continue to grow. It's just massively grown over the years. We've continuously progressed, and that's what matters to me. It's continuously progress, numbers keep building, and I don't need someone to say, well, you have a gold record. You need to have a gold record to make it, or you need to be on Sirius XM radio to make it, or you need to be playing at an arena.
Sirius XM's so weird to me. I'm like, that's still a thing?
That is so I would love to be played on there.
That's so early 2000s to me. I'm like, I mean, that's cool, but I'm like,
I would love to be on there. I'm not dissing it. I'm not dissing it at all, but I personally don't listen to it.
I just didn't realize it was still a thing. I'm like,
oh. It is because they have ties with things. They sponsor events and whatnot. So a lot of these festivals, they're tied in with them. And so I'm not going to diss them.
No,
I just don't listen to them.
Yeah, I just didn't know it was a thing.
I feel like they play a lot of the same stuff. And if they opened up their ears to more underground music, they would be doing it more of a service to these bands that work their asses off. And unfortunately, they don't do that. I think that it's the same thing as where radio was, where their pockets get lined with money. And someone says, here, play this band.
Same song.
Same band.
Every hour.
Same band or same sound.
Yep.
Exact same sound. Like everyone is like, oh, that band's on there. I got to make myself sound like that. And so they go and imitate that sound. Whereas they should be more involved in the scene to bring out bands that are up and coming and that are breaking and that are underground and have a unique sound. So I would say that that's my response for this question. Am I questioning anything? Let's see. Any other beliefs? No, I can't think of anything that comes to mind right now. How has this changed affected my relationship and my goals? I think it's changed it for the better as far as I appreciate people more. Yeah. I live in the moment a lot more. Yeah. This tour that we just did, we filmed a lot less. It was unreal how much I was still posting for stuff, but I wasn't posting as much because we didn't have that much downtime. It was so go, go, go. And we weren't able to film very much. So that's another thing we learned. We have to bring a merch person. We have to bring a person that can help us load and unload gear. And we need to bring a person that can do media that can record the whole time instead of us doing it ourselves. So if anyone wants to learn or help us or build with us and be a part of this team, that would be something that we would be looking for, obviously, is someone that can do it and help us out with that. And yeah, that's about it for my responses on this. So now let's go ahead and read your guys' responses. I'll start here. First one comes in from, Amy Beth. Amy says, family is more important than friends. Because I lost most of my family due to addiction than in my sobriety. I lost most of my friends, but still trying to get my family's love and respect back.
Sending you good vibes. I mean, just keep showing up and putting in the work. They'll see that you're better now. I mean, with family, but as far as friends, it's like, fuck them. I mean, no, it's hard, but yeah, I'm big, trying to be big on family and focus more on family. So I'm sending you good vibes on that.
I'm huge on both, but here's the thing. You can't choose your family.
You can choose your friends.
You can choose your friends. And when your friends choose to not be around you because you chose sobriety and to save yourself, those aren't real friends. So those you're not really choosing family over friends. You're choosing family and people that respect you and that love you over people that want to see your downfall and destroy you and all that. So I would say just keep showing up, showing them, proving that you're sober and that you've cleaned up your act, and they will come around eventually. Sometimes family can be hurtful in the way that they don't forgive you right away, and it takes some time. Because here's the thing. We've all seen where people continue the cycle of getting sober and then they fall back into addiction. It gets worse. They burn more bridges. Then they get sober again for a little bit and then they fall right back. And every time you do that, you do lose credibility with people. And some people are harder to convince that you've changed your ways. But don't give up. Continue to show up. Prove your sobriety and do the best that you can. And I'm proud of you for staying sober, Amy.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Get it, girl.
Next one comes in from Matthew Grodzinski. That my choice of reaction is a freedom no one can take away. I used to react irrationally because because of my emotions. Now I understand all emotions are valid, but understanding which are rational and which are irrational is true self-awareness. I love that.
Yes.
I love that, Matthew. That is so true.
Shout that from the fucking rooftops, man.
I 100% agree with that. Like, it's kind of like, to me, it's like a credit score. It's kind of like currency. It's something that
It's huge, and
it's
so
huge.
many people don't have it.
No.
Oddly enough.
I will admit that I have had to learn that the hard way.
I think we all have, but I think it comes to a point where you would think at a certain age you would learn what situations deserve your reaction and which ones don't.
And I think that when you basically react in a rational way to something, and someone's just trying to light that fuse and trying to get you going and trying to see their worth to you and whatnot, when you don't react in a negative way,
it fucks them
up. It fucks them up big time, worse than that, when whatever it is that they said to you to try to trigger you to get going. And then then they start questioning themselves, and then they start wondering, well, was I not brutal enough to them? Was I not honest enough? And then they get mad. They get angry with themselves.
Yeah, it's kind of like that saying, kill them with kindness.
Yeah. And if you just don't react sometimes, it's basically the biggest fuck you can give, because it's like your opinion, you don't value, there's no value that you hold with your thoughts.
Get a reaction out of me.
Yeah. I will say this from someone that gets not a lot. We're getting it less, but I do get people that talk shit about us because of the band or whatever, or people think they know me or some shit. I love to go in there and talk shit back, but that's just the troll in me. A lot of times I just don't react to some things where I'm just like, I'm not going to give them the time of day. That's what they want. And then you come and find that they are actually fans of you or fans of your music or fans of whatever. They admire you, but they just want a reaction, which is really weird in today's day and age. That's what people do.
People are fucking weird.
They'll be brutal and mean to you on fucking online, and then they meet you in person.
Everybody's a bully behind a keyboard.
Yeah.
And it's dumb.
So happy you said that. And then there's a follow-up comment here from Rabble Row J. He says, I can relate and assume this role as well. Been quite the struggle bus becoming a more tame individual, but my ego and unrealized life efforts gets in the way sometimes and makes me a raged out demon possessed by being such a loser. And then Matthew followed up and said, I feel that you should look up Sunk Cost Fallacy. Interesting perspective on how you see the past and how it affects the future.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that myself. And I get that. I get that 100% because it's our egos sometimes get in the way, and we just our egos are our ugliest side.
Yes.
And it's weird that our ego thinks it's so pretty, and what makes us think that we are this thing, and other people see us differently. The different folks are going to see different sides of you. So I find that interesting. The next one is, this is an actual comment from Rabble Road J, aside from that side comment that he made. I once thought I could just decide the kind of political stance I had and call myself whatever it was. But when you actually break down what each party stands for and thoroughly dissect it all, you realize you've always been one of them. Your heart will tell you when a true moral value is being squashed out of existence. This provokes the political persona you've always been. What I will say with that, though, is that and I hate to get into politics on this, but both sides, whether you're on the left or the right, they both use these things that they know are going to trigger you, that are going to mess with your emotions and are going to make you choose a side. So funny enough that one side is extreme one way and the other side is an extreme way the other way with a lot of the same topics.
Yeah.
Why is that? So let's just throw something out there and don't quote me on this.
I'm quoting you on it.
I'm trying to find a way to say this without pissing people off and without choosing a stance. Okay, so let's say someone says pizza's better and someone says tacos are better.
Oof.
And let's say I'm a person that doesn't like either or. Why do I have to choose? Or if I don't care?
Yeah.
Let's say I don't care. Let's say I love both, or I don't care, or I don't like either.
You're in the middle.
Why can't I just be in the middle and not give a fuck?
Yeah.
Like, why do I have to choose a side?
And why is it pushed so hard?
Why is it pushed so hard for us to choose a side, so that way at least 50% of the people that are on the other side are going to hate me?
Yep.
That feel strongly about one thing or the other. And I'm using this as it's a food example. It's a stupid way, because if I would have said something else that's more triggering, people are going to think that I lean this way or lean that way. And I don't want that. I don't want people to think that, because there's a lot of topics that are on one side or the other side that I just don't give a fuck. Like, live your life. Do you. Just, I don't care. I literally do not give a fuck. I'm not going to pick a side, because I don't have to agree with you, but I also don't have to be against you.
Oh.
Why can't we live in that world?
Exactly. And that's just it. It's like everything, like, over the last handful of years has just become so extreme. Like, the goal is just to put everybody against each other. So I think once we all realize that and say, fuck you to the government, essentially, both sides, we can run this.
We can definitely run this. We can come together
We
as
outnumber
people.
them, but everybody gets so caught up. Like, I don't know. I don't want to get too political because, yeah, I don't like either. I'm not for either side.
Me neither.
Because I just feel like it's just its own evil. It's putting people against each other. But really sit down and think about why. Why does the government want us to be against each other versus watching what they're doing? Think about it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think we're becoming more and more aware and awake of it.
I think so.
But I think that they just keep shoving it even more in extreme just to make you choose a side so that you do fall into a category.
Yeah. I'm a rebellious bitch. I don't want to be in a category.
Me neither. I don't want to be categorized.
I don't want to be classified by your this and that.
I want people to live their fucking lives peacefully in the way that they want. I don't have to agree with you on certain things, and that's fine. I can
but
still be respectful.
Mean we need to hate each other.
Yeah, I can still be respectful of you and your wishes and how you choose to live and whatnot.
And we can still be respectful of each other. You don't necessarily have to be friends, but it's like we can still be respectful of each other. Why does it have to go to this hate and like I can never talk to you again? I can never blah blah blah. Why?
Or you can still be friends. You just don't. I have friends that I don't agree with on a lot of shit, and I just hang out with them. We don't focus on the things that bring us different. Or if we do, they share their information with me, and I get to learn something.
It kind of stems back to a lot of this stuff. It's like, who cares? Like, humanity comes first. People come first. Let's love one another, differences and all. Why does it have to always be a fight and a struggle and chaos and fucking revolting? And
it's gross.
It's just fucking, I mean, this cheesy. Can we just hug it out? Like,
rub one out.
As long as everybody's in agreement of that. But yes.
I'm such a dirty pervert.
That's why I love you.
All right. The next one. Oh, shout out to Susan Welch. Susie, it's good to hear from you. She says, I feel like many of the things I've been taught in school are wrong, and I'm feeling like I'm starting to get very distrustful of old beliefs. That includes government and religion and big business. In a nutshell, when I think about dandelions and what they can cure and Bayer buying Monsanto, I can't say that word right. So Roundup kills the weed and Bayer has the cure, with the Christian Bible having 666 books, the Catholic Bible having 68, and the Ethiopian Bible having 81 or 88, depending on who you talk to. I have a huge problem with the Catholic Church making decisions about what books stay in the Bible. So I'm very conflicted about my faith. I've always been very proud of being an American, but when I ran to the U.S. Embassy in South Africa, I wasn't treated any differently than anybody else. I had this vision of running through the gates and being safe, but I felt incredibly unsafe. So having worked in law for 25 years and seeing the worst of the worst, where big corporations will take profits over human life and big organizations will bury the truth to protect their reputation, I'm pretty disillusioned with the world.
I cannot agree more.
Susie, I 100% agree on everything there. That is so true. And unfortunately, we're finding that things that we were taught in school, a lot of the shit's not even here's the thing. When you hear about history, you're being taught a version that they want you to believe. Yep. And think about it. If you were to write a book about yourself, most people are going to exaggerate things. They're going to change things. Sure. It's going to be a perspective thing.
Build themselves up. Yeah.
So, and then when you think about a lot of these books and a lot of these stories that we hear about from history, they've been passed down. Think about when you play that old school game when you were a kid, the telephone where you're whispering someone's ear. Yeah. It comes out completely different at the end. So think about when you put years and years and years and years and years and years and years of someone telling the story, passing it down, how much it's changed. And then it's perspective. I couldn't relate any more to that, Susie. So thank you for sharing that. I agree. I question everything anymore, and I encourage others to question everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people always, there's going to be those people like, you're just a conspiracy theorist. I trust the conspiracy theorist before I trust someone that believes everything that's fed to them, because you're just a sheep.
Absolutely.
And you can call me conspiracy theorist, but at least I have an open mind, and at least I don't believe and swallow everything that I'm fed.
Yep.
And I would much rather live my life that way than to live blindly. Yeah. So Tim Roberts says, in all honesty, my brain tumor journey has brought me closer to a higher power. I shouldn't be here, and I truly believe I know why I still am. I love that, Tim. Tim has been fighting the good fight, man, for fucking... Tim. But shout out to Tim. He's a brave dude, and I've seen the pictures of everything that he's gone through. And I can't imagine. I literally can't imagine. And it's inspiring for him to share his story and to see that and give hope for others that are struggling with similar things. So, Tim, I'm glad you found a higher power that works for you and you found purpose, man. That is huge.
That's huge.
It's
Good
huge.
job.
Not many of us in this world do find that. So, Curious Emberborn says that I'd live past 40. You mean now I have to plan for a life I never thought I'd reach? Balls. I love it. And then followed up by, thanks, you as well. And then you followed up with, I feel that this so much, I never thought I would make it to 40. Feck. LOL. But like Cody said, I'm glad you were here. And Curious follows up with, same to you, and I look forward to each of your takes on this week's episode.
No, when I saw his, I giggled, and I was like, you know what? Facts. Because I just, I was such a party girl back in the day, like always out drinking and whatnot, like in my 20s and some of my 30s even. It's like I never really thought about making it to 40 or even past 40.
40 sounds so old.
So old. Well, and I always just lived in the moment that I didn't care about the future. So I totally agree with Curious. Now I'm like, fuck, now I got to actually plan shit.
I always thought, like, when you look at, like, for example, I love old sitcoms from the 90s. So this is going to sound stupid, but like when you watch, for example, Home Improvement, to think that Tim and Jill were like early 30s. Early 30s. And they look so old. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, so now I'm that old guy, like at 40 years old. It's fucking crazy. Like,
right? It's like,
I never thought I would live to 40. I really didn't. I was burning fast in my 20s. In my teens, I just couldn't even imagine being 30. It was hard to even think about 25.
I think us millennials look young. I really
We live young too. We live young.
We live young. But also, I swear to God, the Flintstone vitamins have had something to do with it.
It's got to be. I used to eat those like candy.
Same.
I would sneak them out to eat them like additional ones. That probably explains our ADHD though too.
Maybe.
It has to be.
Maybe our ADHD keeps us young. I don't know.
It could be a million of those things, but like I don't know. I feel like us millennials were the best generation, period.
I agree.
We really were. Yeah. And I don't care. I know everyone says that, but I truly believe that we were the best generation. We partied hard. We lived it.
Yeah.
We were able to adapt with technology changes and still remember the old school ways and appreciate it. I don't know. I just feel like, and we were confident in who we are.
Yeah.
Unlike the generation below us that they don't even know who the hell they are. They question it. They don't even have their own identity. No. A lot of them are living through the millennials as far as like the music choices, how they dress, all that stuff. And
I love like seeing TikToks where it's like the Gen Zs and stuff talking shit about millennials. And it's like, but you're doing exactly what the fuck we do.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
With the exception of actually living life.
Yes.
Because they're not going out to like the bars and all that shit that we used to go to and the shows like we used to live in.
Our fucking party music.
Yeah. It's weird seeing people, like I've seen on TikTok where people are like girls are dressing with the old gangster ways, like with baggy ass pants that have the holes in them and whatnot. And then they're showing like, not underwear, they're showing boxers, like men boxers that we used to wear back in the day, like the girls used to dress back in the 90s.
Yeah. They're
dressing like that. Yeah. And I'm like, where in the fuck is this coming from? Like, how did this happen? Like, I feel like we're in a time warp. It's weird.
I think we are. We're in a weird.
All right. So the next one comes in from John Gillian. John says, this is a good one. Going to have to think on this. And then followed up with, so he has a response now. Being a father, not that I am now, but most of my life, I went out of my way to have sex with women that couldn't get pregnant. I convinced myself I would be a shit father, very selfish and not responsible enough. Never wanted to get married, tied down, terrible with commitment. I was also a drug addict and alcoholic for 30 plus years. I got off the opiates and alcohol a bit over 7 years ago, 6/2019. Congratulations. Yeah. Love hearing that.
Absolutely.
Anyway, my ex, the one that broke me, had 4 kids. Not the first time I dated a single mother with multiple kids, the youngest being 3 and the one I instantly bonded with. I remember the first time she told me she loved me and the first time she called me dad. From what I was told, she didn't know hers. Aw, that's sweet, and I totally feel that. She didn't know hers. Not my place to tell that story, but with every inch of my soul and heart, I was going to be there for her, love her, and be her dad. When my ex left me, I lost that family, and I never even got to say goodbye. Just done through text message. Jeez, that sucks. Oh my God. But it made me realize that after I got my mind right and got on my path that I'm on now, that I would be an amazing father and partner. And it breaks my heart because it's something I may never have again. But I truly believe now that I would be a great father and would make a great partner to build a life and family with. I always thought I hated kids and wanted nothing to do with them until one day one came into my life. I don't know if this is exactly what you wanted, but it's the most honest and different than my normal answer of being saved. LOL. That's fucking love that. That's a great answer.
That's
John.
huge, John.
That is humongous. I love that. It tugged on my heartstrings for sure. I love that because as a person that also can say that I can relate to not wanting kids, and sometimes I get mad at kids and shit like that because I don't have any. I think about my nephew and when my nephew came into my life, and then when our friends' kids come into our lives, and I like build a little a love for them and appreciation for them. I think that I know for a fact I would make a great father. It's never been for me that I would be a question that I would be a great father. For me, it's always been, I know that when I have a kid, I'm going to have to give up, not necessarily give up my dreams, but I'm going to have to take away from the dedication and the drive that I have for that and put it all into my kids because I would want that drive for that. And I'm selfish. I like us to travel and be able to get up and leave.
Yeah.
And I know how I am with my boys. My boys, our dogs here are everything. I love that. Look at Lorenzo's looking at me like, be real careful, Dad, with how you're saying. Choose your words wisely. Look at him. He's looking at me like that. Anyways, I know how
motherfucker.
He's like, say it slowly. Think about it before you say it.
Say it with your chest.
Yeah. So I know how I am with our boys, that I love them to death and I would do anything. I literally would take a bullet for my dogs. And I can just I can't imagine what I would do for my own like actual kid. Yeah. So I feel this on every level, John, and thank you for sharing. This is definitely applicable for what the question was. Absolutely. And I think you telling us that, I think that you would make a great father, and don't give up hope. It could happen. Yeah. Even a stepdad is just as much of a dad, if not more, because they're stepping into a situation. Like you've experienced, like I've experienced. I had my stepdad come in and he helped us and he was there, loved us. Like I couldn't have asked for more. So shout out to people that step into those roles. You're just as important as sometimes a real, like a blood donor dad, whatever, sperm donor, whatever they call them. They're not even a part of their lives, and they can fuck up the kids. And then it takes a stranger to come in and be like, no, I'm going to be your dad. And love them and show them what being a good person is.
That reminds me, like seeing like the videos and whatnot of kids changing their last name to their stepfather's last name, but not telling them until their graduation. So when they're being called across the stage, it's, them taking their stepdad's name and then the dad just realizing it there in the moment.
I love
and then
that.
Crying, and it's like, my God.
I didn't know that was happening, but that's fucking cool. That's a great idea.
Yeah, the videos are sweet, and just watching like the stepdad's reaction, just like,
that's very touching. I love that.
Yeah.
Good for them, and that's a ultimate payback. And John, keep up the hope, man. There's no it's never too late. It's never too late.
Right.
Next one comes in from Helen O'Neill. Helen says, honestly, my biggest thing is accepting myself as I am, with all my weird foibles and whatever potential diagnoses that are too expensive to get, and not trying to fit into any of society's ideas of normal, because it was hurting my mental health too much, and it's funky enough in the first place. LOL. It's much more fun to be a wee mad thing with a love of skulls, metal, Care Bears, and groovy things. I love that, Helen. I love individuals that stand out. It's the people that are not quote unquote normal, because what in the hell is normal, that stand out to me, especially when I meet a lot of people. I get to meet a lot of people
being their authentic self.
Yes.
And not afraid to be their authentic self and not trying to blend in with society's norm.
I would much rather interact and hang out and meet and talk and chat and get your perspective from a person that is outside the quote unquote norm than someone that's just trying to bullshit me and trying to feed me things that they think I might want to hear. Or I like authenticity.
Authenticity, people with substance, like,
different perspectives are nice to hear, because then I learn something and I can gain something from it. Even if at the end of the day, I don't agree or I don't see it that way or whatever.
But that's at least being able to
learn
both sides.
Yes.
Both parties open their minds to different things.
And you know what I've done in the past? I've done this with my band. I've done this with work. I've done this with what have yous. When someone sees things completely different than me, and I know this about them, I usually go to them no matter what, every single time, to get their perspective, because then it helps me see things from a different side and I can learn and grow from it. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not trying to be cheesy or anything like that. I really do like growing and adapting different perspectives, because that's the only way that I can build and expand whatever it is that I'm trying to work at, whether that be my band or it's something I'm working on at work. Different perspectives help me to reach more people. And I love that. So Helen, you keep being yourself. And I love that. Be authentic and fuck anybody that doesn't accept you for who you are.
Exactly.
Rich Sound Guy says that people really have the best of intentions. That is not true at all. People are inherently hurtful, selfish, and evil.
Yes, sir.
They are. I mean, we've been exposed to that more and more now that, like we were talking about earlier with documentaries and with social media, and everything's out there now in the public and open. And
it's across the board.
It's across the board. There's not, when people say, oh, it's this type of person, or it's like, people are people, and they are, when you have free will, you can do bad things, and it's good to be aware of that. But I have not given up hope, because I've met a lot of great people. I've seen a lot of great things too. So the way I approach things, and it's not for everybody, you don't have to take my word for it, but the way I approach things is I give people the benefit of the doubt to begin with, but I'm cautious.
Yeah.
And I give you enough rope to hang yourself with. What I mean by that is, if you show me your colors are fucking shitty, you're a bad person and whatnot, I'll call you out on it. And I won't trust you. I won't believe what you say. I might give you another chance, maybe, depending on the extreme case, because I believe in giving second chances. I've been given second chances. I've been not given second chances, and it sucks. But once I've called you out on your shit, and once I've given you that second chance, if you abuse that and you continue to show that pattern of being a bad person or bad behavior or disrespect, whatever, at that point, then I'll cut you off and say, well, fuck you. But I'm not going to let that bleed onto the next person. You know what I mean? The next one comes in from Tamara Harrington. I'll let you read that, because I've been reading now, and it's your turn.
I'm just letting you ride, baby. Ride. All right. Tamara Harrington says, thinking that if you were married or in a relationship with kids, that you stayed in it for the kids. Ooh, that's a good one. I definitely came to realize and understand that this is toxic not only for you, but on the kids as well, because now you are passing down that toxic behavior is acceptable in relationships, or even on the job, from employers, from employees, from anything that is toxic behavior to yourself being your safety or mental health. That is so true. That is I've always disliked hearing that. People like, oh, we stay together for the kids, but they're seeing you fight and literally hate each other. So you're just showing them that's what marriage looks like, and then potentially setting the stage for them when they get into adulthood, and if they get married or whatnot, that they may fall into similar types of relationships, and then they have kids, and then they were taught you stay and suffer through, essentially, is really what it is. But why? When you could just split, and then they can see how happy mom and dad are separate, and maybe new relationships, but just in life in general, that sometimes relationships don't work out. And guess what? That is okay.
I think we've talked about this subject a number of times on this podcast, and I couldn't agree more. I've said this many times. I've seen so many people be together, and what keeps them together is that they have a kid or kids together. They're married. They have a house. That is no way to live whatsoever, because you're teaching that kid that it's okay for you guys to fight, for the relationship to be damaging. It's okay to cheat on each other. It's okay for you to be hurt, to be angry, to yell at each other, to disrespect each other, to do all these bad things. And kids, the older they grow and the more they see that, the more that they become numb to it. And what they're going to do is they're going to carry that on to their relationships. And like you said, it's going to dramatically affect how they accept someone treating them badly. So for example, if you have a daughter and she sees that dad is cheating on mom and he beats her, or he's controlling, manipulative, all this shit, guess what daughter's going to do? Daughter's going to grow up and she's going to be in a relationship with guys like that, because that is normal. That's what's been accepted by her mother. She's going to disrespect her mother. Eventually she's going to be like, well, mom put up with that, and I can't believe she did. And she's going to lose respect for you as a person. And you hear about all these issues. I've heard so much about mother-daughter relationships that are just bad and sour, and it's because of how mom raised the kids, and mom accepted different men into their life that were abusive, beating and cheating and all that kind of stuff. You're affecting your kids more than when you could easily, just like you said, break up, and you can show your kids how co-parenting and how being an adult could be a beautiful thing, where you have two people that made you, but they couldn't work things out between each other. And so they're happy with somebody else, and dad's happy with someone else, but they're able to come together when important things happen, like graduation or birthdays or whatever, to be co-parents for you. And better parents and just show you what, what love is really about. So I couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah.
I love that statement. I love it when people talk about that because I've seen it too many times. I see too many bad relationships where they suffer through it because of stupid reasons like, oh, we have kids, or, oh, we have a house.
And then it makes you not even want to be around them because
Yep.
you could just see how much they hate each other. And it's like, God, just end it, dude.
Well, you see the fake book stuff too.
Well,
like when
for
they're
sure. Yeah,
all loving on Facebook. Which one he cheated?
I'm like, who fucked up?
Yep. Agreed.
And then it looks like the last one is from Ruben Talsma. And he says, be thankful and have gratitude for what you have and where you are. Agreed. Oh, okay.
That's a huge one.
I think we all should. Let's take a step back and just take a breath and look at where you've come from to where you are.
Appreciative. Just appreciate.
Be appreciative of what we have in this moment. It's just so easy to get caught up in everything and all the chaoticness of life in this world and how everything's fed to us, just thrown in our face.
Yep. And last couple this one's from Damn It Dave. Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny were real. They were actually mechanisms to force children to be good. Least you get nothing. Similar to religion. Do what you're supposed to do, least you go to hell. Interesting. Yeah, I think not to go down the path of preaching religion and all that, but I think the intention, regardless of what religion you're into, I think the intention is to be a good person. Just like we talked about earlier, where things get passed down, things change and get more extreme and get more about controlling and more about this or that or people's perspectives. I think the intention is good, the initial intention. So I would agree with that semi. The next one's from Madballs Harry, and that's adults would be mature. I see 10-year-olds more mature than people over 40 nowadays.
Yeah. I see this a lot in work. Just working in HR or employee relations. It doesn't matter the age. People don't grow up. They stay in like a high school mindset is what I call it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's a big thing that people I think they get stuck in a certain age. And I don't know if it's like something that there's no growing or there's no consequences maybe. And you're just like, I like this age and I'm going to stick to this and I'm going to be this way. And I see in the workforce, I see it. Grocery stores, man. You go to the grocery store, people act really rude. Like they didn't grow up with manners.
Yes. It's like, why is it at the grocery store all manners go out the window?
People cutting in line, people just like blocking you're trying to get through and people are just blocking the way. Like they're the only people that exist in the world. And it's super frustrating. And with that said, that's all of them for this week. So we'll go on to segment 2. And like I said, stick around because segment 2 is awesome with my friend Dan from Metalheads Media. We had a great conversation about his path through sobriety and his journey, and it's very inspiring to me. We had a great conversation. You get to learn from Dan, and here we go. Hello, everyone, and thank you for sticking around for segment 2. I am very excited about this podcast because this episode, I should say, I did get to just meet my guest today. He actually interviewed American Overdose a couple days ago, and I was very impressed by how he did his research and came into the interview with some insight on the band. A lot of times you get podcasters or you get interviewers that have no clue about anything, so the conversations are a little bit more repeating yourself. But this guest actually did his homework, and I am wishing him all the luck in the world because that's a great step into being a great interviewer. His name is Dan. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, thank you so much, Cody. I appreciate you having me on today.
I'm happy to have you here. And for everyone out there, Dan's company is called Metalheads Media. So please go out there and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Find him on Facebook, Instagram, and that's Metal space Heads with a Z Media. And we'll provide the description. In the description, we'll provide the links to your social so that people can find you, Dan. So thank you so much for being here, man. I'm excited to hear all about you and your story. Go ahead and share with the audience about you.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much, Cody. It was definitely a pleasure to talk to you and Justin last week on a passion of mine, which is music. And it's something that's been with me my whole entire life. And just recently, I kind of realized that I surrounded myself around music growing up my whole entire life because of my childhood. And my parents were constantly fighting. So I'll back up. I was born in Denison, Iowa in 1977. And just growing up, I had an older sister, older brother. So I was an oops baby. So my parents were a little bit older than most people. A lot of people mistaken them for my grandparents at times. It's kind of funny. So, but growing up, it was around the house. It was constant fighting. So I spent a lot of time downstairs in the basement watching MTV, watching all the music videos that I can. Let's see, what was it? Dial MTV, where you had to like dial in and request your video.
But yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, and me and my buddy that lived up the street, my best friend, Chris Cooker, he would come to my house almost every day, spend the night every weekend that we were around. He was just my best friend, and we would constantly call. And then one time he's like, it's ringing. And it was my house, and me being a dick, I stole the phone from him. You look back, I'm like, damn it, dude, that was a real dick move. But so, Chris, if you ever listen to this, I'm sorry, man. And so I had Poison's my favorite band, and growing up, it's always been and still has been. So we voted for Every Rose Has Its Thorn. Yeah.
Were you on air? Did they actually get you like recording on there?
No, they just asked for your vote and then thank you and hung up, and that was about it. So, but hey, I got to be one of the callers at one point, so that was kind of cool.
That's pretty badass. I never got to do that because it cost money, and my grandma would have whipped my ass.
Right? Yeah. I think I got away with it, so not too sure. But what got me into music at such a young age was my older brother. He introduced me to Poison at the very beginning. I believe we were at my sister's wedding, and he's like, why don't you go up to the DJ and ask him to play Poison's Talk Dirty to me? And I was like, okay. So I went up there, and I'm in the middle of the dance floor, and I'm just enjoying every moment of that song. And instantly, I was like, right there, I was like, Poison's my favorite band. So he got me into Poison, Night Ranger, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses. Let's see, we even had Shaka Khan, Culture Club.
Nice. Oh yeah.
I'll even admit I had the Tiffany cassette.
Yo.
So I ventured off that route for a moment. That was just a brief moment. So, but living down there, coming up about normal childhood, played sports, hung out with friends. That was before electronics. So we actually went outside and rode our bikes and did adventures and hurt ourselves and got scratches and boo-boos and didn't make a big deal out of it. So
those are the good old days. I'm from the same era, so
yeah, I just wish more kids would adapt to that. I think things would be a little bit nicer and easier out there. But so with all the constant fighting and everything that was going on in the house, my sister moved out. My brother was graduating high school. My dad got a job up in Worthington as a member service director at an electric company up there. So it was basically a promotion for him. And so we were going to move to Worthington.
Is it still in Iowa?
Yeah, at this time we're still in Iowa, 5th grade. And one weekend my dad comes home. My mom isn't quite home yet. And my dad sits us down and he's like, I'm going to ask your mom for a divorce. And I sat there and I don't know what I did. I think I blacked it out. I honestly can't remember pretty much anything after that, except for the moment my mom came home when I didn't hear my dad mention it, but I know he asked it because at that moment I heard my mom fall to the floor. Yeah. And at that moment, I just got out on my bike and I just left. And so, and I think pretty much at what mentally what happened to me there, it's hard for me to remember a lot of my childhood in Denison. I think I might have blocked a lot of it out. The fighting was so bad. The road trips that we did to go see family. There was one moment it got so bad that my mom threatened to jump out of the car while it was moving. And I'm in the back seat, just, hearing all this. But at the same time, I have my headphones in, just blaring my music, trying to sound it out.
Yeah.
So a lot of those things I really think I blocked out of my head. I don't remember a lot of it. But so my mom being my mom, a wonderful, wonderful person, she wanted to work things out and told my dad that she wanted to go to counseling and move to Worthington. So after my brother graduated from Denison and he went off to the Navy, we packed up and we moved up to Worthington. Keep in mind, when we lived in Denison, we were in town. So being a kid, I could go down wherever I wanted on my bike. I could go down to the library and visit my mom whenever I wanted during the summer. It was quite a small town, and I enjoyed it. I loved every moment down there except for being at home when my parents were fighting.
Do you recall like what? I mean, you don't have to go into specifics, obviously, but do you recall what the fighting was about? Was it like money, or was it like just
a lot of it was money, because they're always at the table with the pocketbook open. Talking to my brother a little bit more recently, I didn't realize how tough things kind of were growing up, but my parents managed. And my dad didn't have a very good uprising. He was in foster care and just went through a lot of things. And then he got drafted to go to Vietnam. So he's a Vietnam vet, and I can get more into that a little bit more. So, but I think a lot of that fighting too was the PTSD from Vietnam. I don't know if he ever really got over it.
Understandably so. That is definitely not easy. I have family members and I have friends that have gone to war and came back, and it definitely changes people. And unfortunately, I don't feel like there's enough care or assistance for the folks that go risk their lives for our country and for our freedoms and all that. And
well, definitely, especially the Vietnam veterans who got booed and things were thrown at them, and a lot of them didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
So I do. It was an awful welcoming home for them. The experience out there is awful. My dad in the last 10 years or so is starting to tell stories now, but he'll tear up every single time. Yeah, it's hard to hear him, but so that could be the reason for a lot of the fighting. So then during 5th and 6th grade in the summer, we moved up to Worthington, and my parents decided to get a house out in the country, let's say about 5 to 7 miles outside of Worthington, Minnesota. So here I am alone in the house now, no older brother, no sister nearby, just me and my parents out in the middle of the country. And what did I have? My music, because all that was happening at the house was the fighting. My dad, verbally abusive to me. And I couldn't imagine what to my brother and my sister possibly. He would always threaten, not really threaten, if chores didn't get done, or you'd get definitely very angry, and you didn't want to see his next steps, because then you'd definitely be scared. I mean, when he got heated, you were scared.
Yeah. Well, I can relate to that. I can relate to the parents fighting. I can relate to being scared of dad. Like I unfortunately also dealt with a lot of that. Growing up was a lot of seeing the parents fight, and it is traumatizing. You never forget that, and it sucks seeing two people that you care a lot about, obviously, that you love, going at it and yelling at each other, and some of the things they may say to each other. And then if it gets physical, in my case, I witnessed my dad, I've talked about it on the podcast, but strangling my mom,
Man,
and it would get physical. And it's a thing that changes you, and I think it affects everyone differently, obviously. So I can relate to that.
Yeah, I mean, everything affects everyone differently. We're all different people. We all have different past. We all have different relationships with our loved ones. Yeah, so everybody has different experiences during those things. And I didn't see much physical abuse from my dad. My sister said he was when he came back from Vietnam, but we're not sure. Can't really say. Not going to ask my dad. Don't want to know. So,
no, for sure.
Yeah. So here I am, going to start 6th grade. I'm a chubby, pimple-faced kid, and no more confidence. It's because I have no more friends, don't know anybody, and I just completely shut myself off when I got to school. I was so scared, so nervous. I didn't know what to do. Only made a couple friends that year. Unfortunately, one of them turned out not to be the greatest friend I would always feel like when he came over, I'd always feel like he stole stuff from my house. And I just like, man, I always hated having him over, because then I'm feared of what he might have stole from the house. And I just never knew. But at the same time, he was a good friend, because he actually stood up to my dad a couple times when he would get angry and in my face about getting chores done instead of being able to play with my friends or going anywhere with my friends. I had to get chores done. So for him to stand up against my dad, I thought that was quite a big challenge for him. But
ballsy.
Yeah, very ballsy. but nothing transpired. So, but that was good. So my relationship with my dad was always rocky after that, because he's the one that made us move because of the job. He's the one that wanted to live out in the country. So I'm just like, so I didn't have a good relationship with my dad during my middle school or high school years. My mom was always there. She definitely protected me and just helped things keep manageable at the home, I feel. And so that was very grateful for her. So let's see here. When I was a sophomore in high school, I was on the swim team, and we would be swimming our laps, doing our practices. Next thing you know, I would have something happen with my heart, and it would start fluttering really fast. And so I'd have to get out of the pool. I'd lay on my back and try to catch my breath and just relax. And when it went away, I just went back in the pool and I started swimming again. Didn't think anything of it, but it kept on happening and happening. And I wasn't telling my parents. I always kept things to myself.
Was it just when you were doing that, or was it happening sporadically at different?
No, only when I was swimming. I mean, I was in baseball. They made me wear a heart monitor. I did stress tests back then. This was like in 1994. And nothing and blood test after blood tests. And then once they had nothing to really go off anymore, they just said, okay, well, here's a heart monitor. It kind of looks like one of those old wristwatches that you'd have to stretch around and put around your wrist. And so they said, next time you have an episode, put that on. So I was like, okay. So the next time I put it on, it happened. I put it on. Next day I went to the clinic. They plugged it in. All I could see was black marks just going up and down. Yeah. The nurse was like, I'll be right back. I was like, okay. The doctor comes in. He's like, we're having 250 beats a minute here. Yeah.
Damn.
So he's like, no more swimming. And that was the one thing that I loved and I cherished the most. And for somebody to tell me to give that up, I became more angry at God, and just felt like he wasn't there for me and wasn't supporting me. And because they told me that they didn't know when they could get me in and how long I'd be out of swimming and things like that. But next thing you know, they call up and say, hey, you got to go to the Mayo Clinic. We need to do a heart surgery on you. And it was the very beginning of what is very common today, known as the ablation to the heart. But for me,
what can you explain what that is? I have not heard of that.
So the ablation to the heart is when they put catheters through your veins and they go into your heart and they burn off any extra tissue or things that they have to burn off in the heart. Yeah.
Is that, so you're saying that's a more common thing now, or it's more known?
Very common now. It's actually, you go in, have it, you go home. So yeah. But for me, I went home the next day, which I was kind of surprised.
And it wasn't very well known back then? Is that?
No, I was under 1,000 people to ever get it done. Yeah. My parents had to sign a consent form that we wouldn't sue if anything went wrong.
So they put you under and...
Not really. They drugged me up enough, but there were moments when I was sleeping and then I'd wake up with my heart fluttering or my heart skipping a beat or just different things with my heart. And the doctors were the ones doing that testing to kind of see where the issue was. And so they found the issue was in my AV node, which is in the center of the heart, where the tissue came down and blocked it. So it just made my blood go in circles, and that's what it made the 250 beats a minute. So they had to burn the tissue, but if they burned too much, I'd have to have a pacemaker for the rest of my life. And if they didn't burn enough, it could grow back and I'd have to do it all over again. So at that time, though, they said if this would have happened a year before, I would have had open heart surgery. So that's how new this ablation was happening with the doctors. So yeah. So my parents were a little freaked out about that, having to have something so new with somebody like me. And one of the weird things was, the doctor that we talked to the night before going over the procedure, the next morning we get there, we find out there's a new doctor now because he had a son the same age as me, and that was in the swim team. And it was too close to him, so he couldn't do the procedure.
He was scared that potentially if something went wrong,
yeah,
how it would affect him. Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah. But next day, I went home, rested for about a month, and ever since then, I've been good. The heart surgery was good.
That's awesome. I love that. It's good good happy ending and as far as that goes.
Right. Of course. And shortly after that, I had some friends on my swim team invite me to a church party where at that time it really got to me and I became a born again Christian halfway through my junior year. And yeah, so my mom, being the huge Christian that she is, a huge church follower, she never allowed alcohol in the house. We couldn't smoke. There was like none of that stuff in our house. So I could tell how happy she was that I became a born again Christian and that I was just going to church and having friends at that time. But as I look back, I realized it was more fake friends. That's in high school.
Yeah.
And the more I look back, it's hard for me to associate myself with Worthington because I really didn't like anything about that town. And sometimes I find it hard for me to say that I want to forget about my past and just kind of throw away that town and what happened there. But I guess the one blessing I can say moving from Denison to Worthington would be having the doctors that I did catch my heart surgery or catch my heart issue.
100%. And it does suck when you have to look back at something and reflect and you're just like, you know what, that was a really shitty time in my life. But at the same time, it also makes you appreciate what you have now and later what you find and you realize what you don't want and you don't have that curiosity of some of those experiences because you've lived through them and you could talk about them. So
right. And all these experiences for me, some of them I'm not proud of, some I'm ashamed of, or I'm embarrassed by, but I'm not ashamed of them because they're my scars and they're going to be with me forever. And I got to learn to live with those. And
they may help somebody, you telling the stories that may be going through something similar or that can relate to it or that may be feeling alone, like they're the only ones. And then they hear you tell your stories, whoever you're sharing them with, they can relate to them and potentially be their saving.
Yeah. I mean, I've met so many people throughout these past 10 years. I've had my tattoos and people always asking about them and what they mean and realizing how many other people out there are sober now and had addiction problems or have all these family issues going on. It's great to know that I'm not alone, but it's also hard to put in my head that people are going through this because I don't want people to struggle with these kind of things. But if I can help anybody one way or the other, I've always had my hand open to anybody that needs an open ear. Anything else, I was always willing to help anybody at any time, and I still am.
I love that. I love that. And I was just talking about this with another guest that we're so lucky to be in times where we have the capability of social media to connect with strangers or people that are like us, but we don't even know. Like we talk about our struggles with addiction or family member loss or someone ends their life and you don't know how to deal with it. You're close to and you're trying to reach out and see who could I talk to, who can relate to this, how did you cope with it? And as much as I complain about social media, it's a double-edged sword because there's so many benefits from it as well. And one of those being is that you can hear people's stories like this. You can connect with people in groups that you don't even personally know potentially. It might be someone that's completely across the other side of the world, but you have this connection through some struggles you've gone through together, that you've gone through that are similar, and you get to hear people's stories and you connect with them, and then you get to hear what worked for them or what didn't work for them. And I love that part of it.
Yeah. And I've even had a couple people come back and said, hey, thank you again so much for that help, that worked or things like that. And right there, it makes me feel so good just that awesome. I can help.
I love that. I try to think about like what it was like before and back in let's say like the mid 90s or late 90s. Yeah, we had the internet, but it wasn't really how it's used now. We didn't have social media at all. There was chat rooms and that kind of stuff towards the end of the 90s and message boards, but it was nothing like it is now. So
barely had cell phones too.
Barely had cell phones, yeah. So you didn't have text messages or anything like that.
Nope.
And it was much harder to find people that we could relate to on that level. So the way that people would meet is go to the bar, or you would go to a concert, or you would go to a sporting event, and you might spark a conversation with someone and then build a friendship like that, which is still cool to do. And I love doing that. And that's always fun to meet someone if you're at a concert and you're sitting next to somebody that you don't know, and suddenly you see something that they're wearing that, a band shirt that you like, that and you find common reasons to socialize with someone. But
Yeah.
for situations like this about family trauma and addictions and that kind of stuff, it wasn't like you just went up to some stranger out on the street and said, "Hey, I'm dealing with alcoholism and how do I deal with," you know what I mean? It wasn't like that. You had Alcohol Anonymous, yes, but I just feel like with social media and the resources that we have available through the internet and all that now, it's easier to find someone that you can relate to and talk to about it, and it's a lot more accessible than it was way back in the late 90s. And
Yeah, I totally agree. But now I'm totally afraid that anything that I'm seeing or anything I'm talking to is AI.
yeah,
So it's like, because it's
never
everywhere
know.
now. Yeah, it's hard to imagine who you're talking to, but if it wasn't for internet and social media, I wouldn't have met my wife that I have now with online dating apps. So
I love that. That's
yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome.
But so here's kind of where the alcohol now gets involved in my life. So after high school, graduated, I started hanging out with some different people. Didn't start hanging out with the youth group kids anymore. We all went our separate ways, and I found myself loving to go to parties a lot more. So that summer and throughout my whole life, I was always looking for the next party and wanted to drink. And anytime I wanted to drink, I wanted to black out. So that was my issue. I wish I could be the person that could just have one drink, but that never was the case. If I opened that case of beer, I was going to drink as many as I could until I blacked out.
Okay, so to clarify, just because I definitely was a person that would black out too when I would drink, but for me, it wasn't the goal. Was that the goal for you when you got the beer, or was it just like, I want to drink as much as I can and I'm going to hang? I called it hanging because you can go till the very end and you're the last one standing. Was the goal for you when you were drinking, like, screw it, I'm going to black out? Like, was that the intention? Was the intention there, or was it just something that would happen? Just to clarify.
Yeah, no, it was something that just happened because I couldn't stop.
I just wanted to clarify. I just wanted to make sure that you weren't intentionally saying, I'm going to black out, because I'm like, I don't know if I've ever heard people say that, but I just wanted to clarify, because I know for me, it was always like, I didn't have that intention. I didn't want to black out, but I wanted to drink as much as I could because I wanted to be that guy that was at the end of the party still standing.
Yes, that was me too. Yeah, but I would get too much and then wake up the next morning, wonder where I am and what I did last night. And who I embarrassed, just awful things I hated after I blacked out, because then I just had a horrible feeling in my gut that I did something bad and something wrong.
Yep.
So I went to a party school as well. For college, I went to St. Cloud State, and at that time, at a Halloween party, I met my ex-wife, and she was a partier too. So we definitely loved to party and have our good times. And about a year after I met her, her name is Christy, my mom and dad call and announced that my mom has cancer. Yeah. And that we need to go to the Mayo Clinic within a few days to talk to the doctors to see what they can do. And so I'm like, okay. So I was about maybe 2-3 hour drive away. So my brother was out in Virginia, I believe, and then my sister was down in Denison, Iowa. She stayed where we grew up. So I was the only one that went there, and I was 24. So I was just like, my mom's got this. I didn't have any question in my doubt. My mom's a Christian. God's not going to let this happen to her. She's one of the good people. So my dad did everything he could to help take care of my mom. He took her to chemo every week, which was over in Sioux Falls, which was a good hour away from Worthington. So it was good. I was still up in St. Cloud. I was partying. I was just drinking to forget was one of the big things that I was doing. And me and a buddy of mine, well, he was him and another guitar player started a band up in college, and he asked me to join and be the vocalist. So I said, sure, why not? And heck, even back then, I knew I had a problem drinking. I mean, I even called one of my songs "Drinking My Sobers Away," or no, "Drinking My Sorrows Away." I mean, I should have realized back then that I had a big issue, but I was still like, nope, I'm in a band, we're gonna party. This song is gonna help other people because I drink just to forget and other people have that problem. And then,
Isn't that weird how that happens? Or you feel an instinct that maybe you do have an issue, but you don't want to admit it. You don't want to say it out loud, but we put it in our art. I happened to do the same thing when I was in my 20s. I wrote some songs about alcohol and struggling with it, but I never once admitted it or even considered it in my head to tell myself. I always thought, no, that person has a problem. The song's for them, not for me. Like I'm relating to your story a lot, especially even you said your ex-wife's name. I had an ex that I was in a toxic relationship with by that same name. So
wow, boy, here we go, right?
Yeah, keep going because sorry, I had to mention that.
No, I appreciate it. No, yeah, please jump in anytime. So we did the band thing, and again, my mom being a huge Christian, I would play her some of the stuff, and some of the lyrics had fuck in it and shit, and I remember playing it for her, and my mom just got that look on her face, like, Daniel, yep, I'm so disappointed in you. I got to jump back. So one time I was mowing the yard out in the country, and I had my cassette player. Didn't think it was that loud. I thought the lawnmower was overpowering everything. My brother was home from Navy at that time, and I was listening to Skid Row's Slave to the Grind, and Get the Fuck Out came on. I sang that song as loud as I could. My brother comes running out to the lawnmower. He's like, Daniel, we can hear you, right? I never felt so like, oh my God, my mom's going to kill me. Yeah, she did not like the language. So yeah, the whole band thing. So that was fun. Then, so I was dating Christy. She was like really one of my first like big girlfriends. Like I've dated some people or just had some flings here and there, but Christy was like really actually like one of my first like official girlfriends I had in my life. So all my life I felt like a loner, that I was never good enough for anyone. I was ugly. Nobody's going to like me. I had that feeling my whole entire life up until I met Christy. So, because I never really made it with the girls back then very much. So I had really low self-esteem, low confidence up until I met Christy. She helped me with that. And I believe it was a blessing that she came into my life at that time, because a year after I met her, that's when my mom ended up passing away from cancer. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, she was a special lady, man, in my life. And I'll be honest, God works in so many different ways. I'm religious, and I'm not pressing my faith on anyone. I'm just saying that I think God made this stuff happen. About a month ago, I was talking to a buddy of mine on the phone, and I said, you know what? This is the first time in my life I wish I could talk to my mom since her passing. And I was like, hang on, buddy. I gotta pull over here and get to the gas station, and I gotta get some gas. Like, let me call you back. Okay. He's like, all right. And I'm like, what? I was like, is that my aunt? Is that my aunt and uncle at the gas station? I'm like, holy crap, dude. Yeah, I gotta call you back. It was my mom's sister at the gas station. I was just like, God, man. I was like, or my mom. I'm like, you are doing something. So during that time, I don't think I really dealt with it up until just within the last few years, I think. So after she passed, the drinking got more while we're married. My wife decided to become self-employed, and that was her love, was her job. And growing up, her dad was a self-employed as well. He was a crop duster, flew planes and helicopters. So he was busy working all the time. And so my ex had that kind of same mentality. And I just felt like, she wasn't giving me any attention. So I just felt like I might as well drink, and just never dealt with my mom passing. Then 2007, we got married, and the fighting between me and my ex, I mean, we constantly fought too from the moment we got together. Not really the moment, I would say probably about a year or two after we met, the fighting kind of just came on, because her parents fought, my parents fought. So heck, that's what we grew up with. So that's what we love to do, right?
I was just about to ask you if you thought that potentially being raised like that or being around that could have affected how you saw was normal in relationships. I know for me it did, because for the longest time, I was in and out of relationships and I was always fighting. But for me, I thought that was normal, and I didn't, like, other people saw it. It's like, oh, you're in a toxic relationship. And I didn't see it that way. I'm like, oh, it's just every couple has this. Were you kind of like that too, where it was just like it's like, it didn't phase you really? It was kind of like, well, this is just how it is.
Yeah, it just felt like normal. And fighting over leaving light switches on, leaving cereal boxes out on the counter. I remember growing up, my dad got so pissed at me. It was like 10 o'clock at night. I remember it was the Braves versus the Twins in baseball. It was a World Series, and we lived in Minnesota. And I was a Braves fan. So I was like, I'm watching this game. And my dad just came storming in the living room and says, "Go to bed now." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "The game's not over yet. I don't care. Shut the TV off. Go to bed." I mean, that's the things that was just like, what the fuck, man? I'm just like, I don't know what I did, but a lot of times my dad would bring the work problems home. And that's what I told myself I would never do. But with my ex, that's what I did. I had a shitty day at work. I'm going to come home and yell about everything else at the house. You didn't do laundry. You didn't do I'm like, you work at home. You can do this shit. I just was so bad. But it was the alcohol that just made me angry. And I think her ignoring me a lot of times, or more focusing on her business. Then in 2013, we ended up having my daughter, Emma. Beautiful, beautiful Emma. Love her dearly. And that still didn't really stop me from drinking. I slowed down for a little bit. Having the child definitely changed my life, and told myself I wanted to be a better person. I don't want to be this person around my daughter, because I don't want her growing up how I grew up.
Yeah. And the scary part is that you don't want them to end up with someone that potentially does the same things and thinks it's okay to be in a relationship like that, or to be treated like that and spoken to like that. So yeah, that's definitely understandable.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. And so the next thing, the drinking's getting worse. My wife's calling me an alcoholic. I'm like, bullshit. An alcoholic, somebody that drinks every single day, gets drunk and blacks out. That was my version of an alcoholic. Nope, I come home, I'll get drunk, but I don't pass out, and then I'll go to bed. Or I'll wait till my wife goes to bed, or my ex-wife goes to bed, and I'll sneak downstairs and I'll hide. I'll put a pillow under the beer can so she can't hear me open the beer. I would hide vodka bottles all around the house because I didn't want her to see what I was drinking. I would go to different liquor stores just so they wouldn't see how much beer I was buying, because I was buying so much all the time. I was just drinking so much just so I could forget everything. And it wasn't up, and I showed you the picture of my tattoo, but it wasn't until then, until I kind of within the last few years, that the reason I felt so shitty and always wanted to drink wasn't just because my ex-wife was like ignoring me or focusing on her work. It was because I felt guilt. I felt shame, and I felt pride for the things that I did.
That's understandable. Yeah, it's the way that alcohol affects our brains and our thinking and our clarity and all this. It's just you don't see it until you're actually out of it, and you sober up. And I don't mean sober up like you don't have alcohol in your system. I mean like where you've been removed from drinking, and you've taken some time and some years have passed for the clarity to be there.
Right. Yeah. It took. Yeah. I mean, after getting sober, I'm 6 years now. June 8th was my 6-year anniversary.
Yeah, congratulations, man.
Hey, thank you.
I love hearing people's dates.
Yeah, me too. My current wife bought me a coin up until my 5th year.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, so it's great.
I look forward to that coin too. Every time I tell my girlfriend, I'm like, hey, because she bought me the first one, and at first I was like, whenever I saw people post them, I'm like, I don't know what that's all about. Is that an AA thing? And then she bought me my first one when I hit the first year.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh yes. And then like I kept telling her how much I love the coin, and so she's like, oh, I'm gonna get him the second one, and so she got me the second one, and I'll be hitting the 3rd year in September. So I'm looking forward to that. I always tell her, I'm like, this coin means a lot to me. So
yes, September what?
September 17th.
Okay. My birthday is September 2nd, but September's a good month. September
Yes,
21st is my daughter's birthday.
Oh, nice. I have a cousin that's got a birthday around that time frame, and my dad's birthday is September 5th. So September's, and my stepdad's
17th.
September 29th.
September 7th. That's my dad's birthday, too.
Really?
Yep, I just thought
this
this
is
really good.
This is crazy shit, man.
No shit. No, it is. So my ex-wife, though, man, I love her. She did what she could. There was a point in time that she even called my brother and asked him to fly out and stay with me for a weekend just to try to get my head straight. And that didn't even work, And there was a time where it got so bad that the guilt and the shame and the pride took over me mentally and physically. I couldn't go to work anymore. I felt like people were staring at me. I felt like people were talking about me. I was paranoid. I would drive to work and I would sit in my car for an hour because I didn't want to go in. I didn't want people to see me walk in. And this was back 15 or 16. This was back when mental health was kind of starting to become more of a bigger thing. But I would go to the doctors and I say, hey, I need some help. I need to talk to somebody. I need to get some medication. Oh, you can get on a wait list. It takes about 6 to 8 months. I don't got that time.
Yeah, no.
I need help right now. I know something is wrong with me and I need help now. Well, we can't schedule anything. And I'm just like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? What the fuck is anybody supposed to do when they need help? So I did what I had to, and I checked myself in at the emergency room at the hospital. And I said, hey, I feel like I'm going to hurt myself, which I wasn't. I just wanted to get in and get some help because that was the only way. And so I finally admitted myself, and I was in there for a good week and just tried to figure things out. Stayed sober, of course, that whole week. Thought I could try to get sober. Nope. I became drunk and alcoholic again. And one night my ex was out of town with my daughter and we were fighting, text fighting. So I don't remember sending the text, but then of course the next morning I wake up. I sent a text in regards to I don't know if I could ever live with myself if you ever got married and my daughter had to grow up with another dad. And I don't remember, like I said, I don't remember saying that. And the next morning, I'm hearing a banging at my door, and it ends up being the police. Actually, no, the back door was unlocked. The police were in my house waking me up because my ex called in, but was scared that I was going to harm myself because of that text I sent. So there I go again, getting admitted, and I was so angry. I was pissed. But at the end, I realized what she was trying to do. But in the end, things didn't work out. We ended up getting divorced. I still became an alcoholic. I was still drinking. She moved back to her mom's house. She became drunk all the time too. So then during our divorce, it just got ugly. We were fighting. It wasn't good. And so the drinking got bad, where I was drinking about a case a night. Easy.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oof.
And yeah, I would do it almost every day. I would wake up, I'd feel like shit, but then I was like, I'm going to get home from work. I'm going to do the hair of the dog. I'm going to feel just fine, and I'll do the same thing tomorrow. No big deal. And it wasn't until the time I had my daughter at my house and ex called, I was slurring my words, and she asked my daughter, then she called my daughter on her iPad, asked her to go like FaceTime, live chat or whatever it was, and show all the beer cans that were on the counter. Yeah. And so next thing you know, the cops are over, and my daughter has to go to my neighbor's. Cops didn't think I was that drunk. I didn't feel I was that drunk. I was having a good buzz. But then my ex came up. She drove 5 hours that middle of the night, slept in the car in the morning until my neighbors woke up, grabbed my daughter and took her back. And she's like, if you ever want to see your daughter again, you better stop drinking. And now I didn't tell you this part either. This was right in the middle of COVID,
Which was already a bad enough time for everybody. And
yeah. I was at home drinking all day. That's why I was getting the cases down easily, because I was at home drinking. So next thing you know, I'm like, all right, I'll check myself in. But they're like, well, we can only do virtual. We can't have you come in. I'm like, this is great. Okay, how am I supposed to get any help talking to people on a computer screen? But so I did it. I had to stop in every week and do my urine test just to make sure I wasn't drinking. But here's my thought on rehab. Rehab is definitely good, but at the same time, it can also be a bad thing for people. I say that because in rehab, they tell you it's okay to relapse. But in my case, it is not okay for me to relapse. I know what's going to happen if I relapse. There's no second chance.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I've heard good and bad things. I had a guest on here who told me that they went to rehab, or they were in like a home, and it was basically people still finding creative ways to use and exchanging, other methods of getting to what they needed to do. And so, I don't know what exactly they do in those facilities. I never went myself. I always tell people it's like, try what works for you. Try and see what works, because for everyone, that certain things may work, and what may work for one may not work for the other, vice versa. And I hear you on that. Like, if someone says, oh yeah, if you relapse, it's fine. That could be your last time you take a hit. That could be the last time you take a beer, and then next thing you know, you've killed somebody or killed yourself or both. Mm-hmm. You drink and drive. So I personally don't like that messaging, and I wonder if maybe the messaging is so that people that do fail and eventually give in to whatever they're using,
yes,
can come right back to trying to stay sober. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know if that's the best messaging for that.
I mean, that's what I get out of it too. It's like, yes, okay, if you do relapse, yes, come back. Let's try it again. But like I was saying, and that's not for all people. And kind of what you referenced to it could definitely be your last, regardless of what the outcome is. And it's not good. And there were 2 albums that were essential to me during my divorce and during getting sober. And that first one was Kill Switch's Atonement. Dude, that album, every single song, every lyric Jesse wrote in there, felt like it was touching me personally. It kept me fighting. It kept me just going through every single day. And that album helped me through so much. And at the same time, Slipknot's We Are Not Your Kind came out. And I just blasted that a lot too, because Corey Taylor's lyrics as well just hit me home so much on that album. It's angry, and it helped me get the aggressions out.
It's amazing what music can do for us. And when a band or an artist or an album just speaks volumes of what you're feeling, what you're going, it's like almost like they're pulling everything you have going on in your head and your heart and in your soul, and they're putting it in audio format and in lyrics. I was going to say those 2 bands, obviously, and those especially those 2 albums are very relatable, and I could totally see how you would be touched by those. And for me, it's always been, and I don't know if you ever really listened to Papa Roach. I'm not talking about the old like Cut My Life, even that song, classic. Their albums, I swear, I always tell people, I'm like, Jacoby Shaddix, Papa Roach, they have literally, I don't know if they like got into my head somehow and were able to put how I feel and what I think, my emotions, all the crap that I've gone through, and put it out on music. Like every single song, I think it's because Jacoby he's an addict, and he has been through it all, like from living the rock star life to self-destruction and just everything that he's been through. He puts it out, and there's no faking that. And when it connects with people, it's amazing. So I always tell people, my band for that kind of stuff and what I've gone through has always been Papa Roach. The lyrics just connect with me, and he sings about what's really going on in his life and what he's dealt with. And I love that music can do that for us. I love that music can be a form of medication, a form of venting, a form of just being heard, feeling like someone can relate. If I can't find anyone in the world that I can talk to that can relate to me, I always know that there's albums, there's bands, there's certain songs that touch me in a way where I'm like, I'm gonna scream this out, I'm gonna jam out to this, because this is gonna help me in some way, form, just shed whatever I'm going through right now, and hopefully be reignited.
Yep. The one song for me, People Equal Shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You crank that one up, man, that will get a lot of your aggression.
For sure. Not to throw us off the topic or anything, but you mentioned you were in Iowa. I have to ask,
yes,
were you around when Slipknot was up and coming and they were like still underground, not mainstream or anything like that?
No, that was after my time. Yeah, I was, my hometown's about 2 hours west of Des Moines, and Slipknot came when I was up in St. Cloud. So first time I ever heard of them, I went to every single Ozfest that came to Minneapolis or Somerset. I have to say Minneapolis because the first one in 96, Somerset protested because Marilyn Manson was on the bill. So that got moved to the Metrodome. But I've been to every single Ozfest after that. So
love it. Which was your favorite one? Which year?
Man, I can't remember what year, but it was when All 4 Black Sabbath headlined, all original members.
Was that the 2001 one?
It might have been.
With that had Manson, it had Slipknot, Papa Roach,
Yep.
Black Label.
Yeah.
That was an amazing. That's probably the best Ozfest. I went to that one here in Washington, and I think it was the reunion. It was when Ozzy first came back and was with Black Sabbath. And,
yeah. Bill Ward was on it too. It's just, that I was just on cloud 9 saying that I know I didn't get to see him in the 70s, of course, but at least I get to see him now.
Yeah. That was an amazing Ozfest. I think people always, whenever I see people talk about Ozfest, that one always gets brought up as potentially the best one, just because of the lineups that they had on that. And Mudvayne was on that. Drowning Pool was just blowing up. Linkin Park was on it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, yeah, that was a hell of a lineup.
Yes, yeah. All of them. I loved all of them, and that's when I first heard of Slipknot too. Was when they're on Ozfest, the second stage.
99 one.
Yeah. And people were in line wearing masks. And I'm like, who the hell? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, who are you here to see? And I thought I was up on music back then. I was like reading my Metal Edge magazines or whatever, all that shit.
Hit Parader and Circus.
All of those. And they're telling me this band Slipknot from Iowa. And I'm like, how the fuck does that go under my radar? And so I knew I couldn't miss them. And from that moment on, I was hooked. So always been a Slipknot fan ever since. So yeah. And that's why their albums, and that's why when that one, We Are Not Your Kind, came out, it just was a heavy one for me. I thought it had some different stuff on it for sure, but just re-listening to it again and like re-listening to the lyrics, I'm just like, man, yeah, that really helped me through a lot. Helped me through a really dark period for sure.
Does music do the same thing for you? Like it does to me, like where you can literally feel everything. Like when you go through some shit and you rely on an album or you rely on a song or a band or something, and let's say you put that song away after you get through your bullshit that you're going through, you put that album away, maybe you hear it 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, and all of a sudden when you hear it, everything, you can remember where you were at when you were listening to that. You can smell the aroma in the air that it was feeling, like your emotions are there. Does music do that to you at all by chance?
Oh yes, absolutely. Because
it's like a time machine.
Yeah, that's like, that's what I've been kind of doing these last couple of days. Is I went through and listened to a lot of like things that helped me throughout the past. I went through and listened to the first Korn album, first Deftones, first Coal Chamber. Yep. And then I went through what helped me back in the 80s, like the first Slaughter album, Great White. So Warrant, I listened to those, and it brings me back to the good times I had with my brother and with my friends, because I introduced them to those kind of bands as well. And going to concerts with my friends, that was a release. Growing up, just had to go in the pit because I was always angry. And when Ozfest came, I had to go in a Slayer pit just to say I was in a Slayer pit. But music was that for me. Cranking it in the car, like I said, people equals shit, just screaming it, getting it out of my head. Pantera, just when Phil screams, Dime's riffs, and just how it hits you hard. And people are like, doesn't that just get you more angry? And I'm the opposite. No, it soothes me. It gets the aggression and the anger out of me.
Yeah. It's like if someone if you get Adderall and you have ADHD, it calms you down. But if you take Adderall and you don't have ADHD, you're going to be bouncing off the walls and going crazy and ape shit. So yeah, that's kind of like, I feel like that's what like heavy music, aggressive music and metal and all that like does. Basically anything that's aggressive and loud, I think it calms us down. It's like our soul is speaking out, and it's exercising the craziness that we're going through.
100%. But yeah, for that journey of getting sober right during COVID and having to do all that, the love and support from my dad, from my brother, and my sister from time to time. There's a long lost story with my sister. We don't need to go into detail with that. But unfortunately, she did end up passing away a few years ago. She ended up overdosing on my birthday.
I'm sorry to hear that, Dan. Holy shit.
Thank you. She was addicted to opioids big time. Couldn't get her clean. We tried to, but couldn't do it. But so anyways, getting clean, I had all the love and support with my friends. They would be like, no beer around me if they didn't, if I wasn't comfortable, and just help me out. But it was COVID, so we really couldn't go anywhere anyways. But if I wouldn't play disc golf with my buddies, they wouldn't bring the beer this time. We'd bring just a bottle of Gatorade or something, whatever.
That's awesome. That says a lot about your friends that are supportive of that and
Yeah, if
the respect that they have for you.
If I didn't have them, I don't know how strong I could have been, because at that point I was up here in Minnesota with nobody. My ex just left me. My dad's in Iowa. My brother's in Virginia, and my sister's in Iowa. It's like I have nobody close that I could really go to, and just family-wise. I have my friends, but I didn't have any family close by, and that did hurt me from time to time. I'll admit there were definitely nights crying in my bed, wondering if I'm going to make it, if I'm ever going to stay clean and be sober. But I think every addict probably goes through that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And wondering, I mean, for me, there was points where I was like, am I going to wake up tomorrow? Am I going to, what is this going to be the last time that I get like this? And then something bad's going to happen. And I think, at least for me anyways, when I was towards the end of my partying and drinking, I always told myself this could be like, I would try to scare myself and I'd say, this could be the last time I drink, and it takes me to the edge, and next thing I might make a stupid decision that kills me or kills people around me. And I was kind of scaring myself there for a bit. And I don't know if I was doing that subconsciously to really want to quit, or if I had maybe a sign was being sent to me somehow, or a message like, you need to stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you could you feel your liver and just your sides ache mornings?
Goodness.
You wake up? Yeah.
Many times. And I kind of have, like you said earlier, where I had this vision of what an alcoholic was, and I'm like, I'm definitely not that. I can stop. I don't drink every day. But when I did drink, it was like to the excess amount. So if I didn't drink at all during the week, the weekends were guaranteed Friday, binge drinking, probably get some cocaine. Then that would lead into Saturday, drinking all day, all night, more cocaine, into Sunday, and then get up for work on Monday, hating life, not really knowing what happened this whole weekend. How the hell did I get here? And it's Monday, and I'm like, what happened to the weekend?
Yeah.
And so many, like you were saying earlier, regrets and wondering, who did I piss off? What bridges did I burn? Did I say the wrong thing? Did I offend somebody? What is going to happen when I was with my ex? Because we were partying a lot, and two people that are partying is never a good thing. It's bad when one person's an addict and has issues and they're with someone, because then that other person has to they have to deal with it, and then they hopefully try to help you get out of it. But when it's two people that are using and abusing and they're both toxic, oh my goodness, it's a recipe for a disaster.
For sure. Me and my ex going to parties, I would feel jealous. I would think, like, is she with somebody? That wasn't healthy.
No, not at all.
But glad those days are over. Don't have to deal with that shit anymore.
Yep. We lived past it, and we could talk about it now.
Yeah, exactly. And at that time that I got the divorce, I was very vulnerable and met a few women, did some things I'm probably not proud of, but it helped me realize how vulnerable I was after the fact. Going through a divorce, trying to get sober, I thought I had a clear head, to be honest with you. Now I look back and I'm like, how the hell did I ever fucking end up with that one chick for a while? I'm like, she was a fucking circus, man. I should have saw it. And everybody in my sobriety class was like, dude, that's a red flag, man. That's a red flag. I had no, it's like, I was so blind. It was ridiculous.
We're so blind, and we're so, like, when we're deep in addiction, it's like, you almost, when you look at yourself, you're like, it's like a different person for sure. Like when you look back and reflect on who you were, what you were doing, what you were saying, the people you were surrounding yourself with potentially, or dating, you almost don't recognize. And you're like, how the hell did I get to that point? And that person is definitely not me anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All the life changes and steps that we have to go through. But after that, I met my wife, Janelle, got married January 1st this past year. And nice. She's been my rock. We've been together for 5 years. She's been my rock and my support through everything. And I'll keep this a little more brief here. But now, after all those things that I've kind of gone through, and I met Janelle, and I get along with my ex, we co-parent great. life is good. Then all of a sudden I start to feel like a little sick. I start to feel I'm getting some symptoms and I'm not feeling good. Like wake up in the morning and my legs would ache really bad. Like I ran for 5 miles the night before, but I didn't. I sat and watched a movie. And I'm like, that's weird. And then I'd go down and lay to bed and the same thing. My legs are aching. And so long story short, doctor appointment after doctor appointments for about 3 years now. I've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia and some binocular disorder as well, because last November on Thanksgiving, I was in my garage. I passed out and hit my head on the floor. And next thing I know, I wake up and I got blood all over my sweatshirt. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I get up, open the garage door, and I go, Janelle, I think I had an accident. And I run down the stairs and I just lay on the floor. And I just remember being so emotional and sweating and puffing and sweating and then getting cold. And so later I found out I got a concussion. And the other issue was this wasn't my first time passing out either. There were other times I passed out, even at the doctor's office twice. A couple times when I was at home, but I didn't tell my wife. Bad me. I should have, because this time it really did it. It did some damage to my left eye. And so since November, I have been unable to go to work. So I've been collecting short-term disability up until then. And my employer, thank God, kept me employed technically up until June. So I was on my health insurance up until then too, so it could cover all those doctor appointments and everything that I needed to go to. But so now as of July 1st, I am uninsured and unemployed, and I don't know where my life is going to go from here. So I feel like I'm in another hard spot with a lot of questions.
Well, that's definitely a reason for concern, but also this could be a new beginning for you that could open up a lot of different doors and opportunities for you to do other things.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is scary. The unknown is scary for sure. I can't say that I'm always like super excited for something crazy like that to just come out of nowhere where I'm like, oh, shit, and all this uncertainty happens. But history has shown me, just from reflecting back on situations where I have been skeptical or scared or worried about things, that everything in the end always comes out to be better, and it turns out to be okay. So I'm praying for you, man, and I am hopeful that this is just an opportunity that is going to be for you for other doors to open, and for you to do something different and another chapter for you.
Well, yeah, most certainly has. It gave me the opportunity to work on that YouTube channel for my Metalheads Media, where when prior to my accident, I had no time really to do anything because of the fibromyalgia and all the other my nervous system stuff. I would go to work for 8 hours, but then I'd come home and I had no energy, no strength to do anything else. My day was shot. So, but now that I'm home all day, I can definitely get more time to focus on this. But also got to do all my therapies, my eye therapy. I got to do my physical therapy. I just got to make sure I keep strong and keep on doing those. So hopefully, I can get back to work someday, or fingers crossed, who knows what this YouTube channel could do for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're like, I complimented you earlier. Like, it's rare to find people that actually do their homework for band interviews. I feel like when you see the professionals on YouTube or even on TV, when they're interviewing somebody, they always do their homework, that they have their information on hand. I found that many times interviews that I've done, people just don't look into the band. You had your notes, it seemed like, and maybe you didn't make notes. Maybe you did. I don't know.
I did.
But you had your facts and you knew what you were asking. You asked great questions. So the one thing that I didn't quite understand is at what point, what made you get sober? At what point were you like, all right, this is it? And how did that, can you explain a little bit more about how,
yes,
what made you decide to get sober? And then what was your journey like in the beginning stages of getting sober? What helped you? What didn't help you? What helps nowadays? Like when you look back, like what keeps you from drinking?
Okay.
What are some tips? Just basically everything that might be able to be useful for listeners to potentially use if they're struggling or they're in this new journey of getting sober.
Yeah. So the thing that got me sober was that night that my daughter had to show my ex all the beer cans on the counter. So the next day she called me and said, if you ever want to see your daughter again, you got to stop. You got to get clean. So that took about a week or two to finally hit me. So Saturday night, my neighbors down the road had a party, got completely drunk. I had 3 beers left in my I had 3 beers left in my fridge that night on a Sunday night before I went to work. And so I said, all right, I'm going to drink these 3 beers and that's going to be it. And by golly, that's been it. I haven't had a sip of alcohol, except for like mouthwash. Otherwise, I haven't had a sip of alcohol since.
That's awesome.
The hardest part was the very beginning, because that's when you have to lay your guard down and tell people you have a problem, the people that you love. And I remember calling my brother and he's like, yep, okay. And I called my dad and he didn't really say much. Later, it finds out he didn't really think I had a problem. So he's like, he had to call my brother and be like, does Dan really have a problem? Yeah. So my brother's like, yes, Dad, he does. Because when my dad would come visit, I would just drink a couple with him, but then they would go to bed early and then I would stay up and drink the rest of the night. So he would never see me. Then telling my friends, because we had played disc golf all the time. These were my college buddies. We played drinking games, went to the bars, and they even had nicknames for me. I was called Belligerent Dan. So I should have known then, but I told them and they were supportive of me because they knew I had a problem. But they were friends and they didn't want to tell me. They didn't want to hurt my feelings. I think they haven't, nobody's really came out and said that, but I would be that kind of friend. I wouldn't say anything, I don't think.
Well, I think people too, it's kind of awkward when you are doing it yourself and you're drinking and your friends drinking, and even if they have a problem, you don't want to be that guy that says your problem and look like a judgmental asshole and like you're pointing fingers, and like we all have our own issues, right? So like, it's like if you're pointing out my issues, I'm gonna get defensive. I'm gonna say, well, fuck you. What about you? You do this, you do that, and so I don't think anyone wants to be in that awkward position, and that's probably why.
Yeah.
So just to stop you for a second, Did you notice that when you got sober that anyone just kind of stopped hanging around, or that kind of wrote you off, like, no, I don't.
Actually,
the party friends?
Actually, no. Nobody really did. I just had a small group of friends. Like I said, I've, since I moved to Worthington, I've never been, confident in myself, so it's just try to keep a small group of friends that I can love and trust. And every single one of them just they would have to ask, like, can I have a beer? They would always ask, like, if we went out to eat, is it okay if I have a beer? They were so respectful.
It's awesome.
Yeah. But I did have one person like, well, are you just stopping for a couple of years and then you're going to start again? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. And then when 2 years came by, I'm like, no, because I know what happens if I crack that first one. So yeah. The love and support that everybody gave me, my work at the time, they were all helpful. And I put God back into my life. I surrendered to him every day. I would go for walks during lunch at work. So I wasn't just sitting there looking at social media. When I came home from work, I would go for about an hour walk just so I wasn't sitting at home, not doing anything. So at that point, I tried to keep myself busy and did as much as I could because it was COVID. So I really, like I said, there wasn't a lot of things to do at that time.
Yeah. And during that time, it's funny because a lot of people I know people that got sober, or I know people that just went the opposite and they just drank a lot more because there wasn't much to do. And it was all this free time and chaos, and the world was uncertain on everything. And I think you're right, though, with saying that keeping yourself busy, building a routine, all that kind of stuff, I think helped me maintain my sobriety, because the beginning stages, I feel, are the hardest. They're always going to be the hardest. And then once you get used to it, once you see the benefits that you have, and that there's really there really is no benefit of cracking open that beer and drinking it. You're going to instantly feel regret.
No.
And anyone I've talked to that's fallen off the wagon, they instantly say, like, the minute they cracked open the beer or they took a hit or whatever, they instantly felt shame. They felt regret. They were like, what the hell? And then it feels like it's like now you have to start all over again. And I've had a lot of people that come up to me and they ask me, like, so what got you sober? What helped you? And my story's always the same. I tell them I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I was sick and tired of the same routine of chaos. I didn't know what the chaos was going to be, but it was always chaotic, and it was never a good thing. And it was routine to have chaos, and I was tired of that. And with sobriety, now my my life it's still unpredictable because I don't know what's going to happen because I do keep myself busy, but I'm in my right mind. I'm making the best decisions possible and I'm living in the moment. I'm not blacked out drunk, not knowing what I'm doing. And I'm trying to be the best version of myself that I can possibly be. So it's awesome to hear that you kept yourself busy. You found a routine that worked for you, walking. It's those things that I think help in the very beginning stages is just keeping yourself busy. And
yeah, 100%, and I had to kind of avoid some of the hobbies that associated with drinking, like some disc golf. I couldn't go play for a little while. Mowing the yard was the hardest because in my mind, I always told myself that I deserve a beer when I mow the yard. I should get this reward. I'm working hard out in the yard. Why can't I get a beer? And that was the hardest one for me because now what?
ice cream.
Yep. Something
cold, or a root beer float or something.
It was actually sun tea. I just growing up, my mom made sun tea all the time. So I drank a lot of sun tea. So that helped. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then now you got all this non-alcoholic beer that tastes so good anyway. So you don't need the real stuff.
Well, honestly, I always tell people that non-alcoholic beers is what saved my ass from falling in. And now even then I've kind of pulled away from the non-alcoholic beers. I don't do them as much. I still do when there's social gatherings, but I've cut back on those just because of the calories now. I'm just like, I don't want to pack on too many calories, but if it wasn't for the NAs, I probably would have given in. Honestly, I'm not going to lie, because I do love the taste of beer and especially like Coronas now that Corona makes the NAs. And I tell people, I'm like, whenever people are curious about the taste, they're like, oh, does it taste like O'Doul's? I'm like, no, I wouldn't drink that piss stuff ever.
No.
But they have Athletics now. They have Coronas. They have now
Blue
Moons. They have so many options out there for people that Coors, that enjoy, that you can enjoy a beer still, but it doesn't have the alcohol. It's got like the 0.05% or whatever the hell, but you'd have to drink probably like 500 of those to even feel a buzz.
It doesn't turn me into that angry drunk and, scaring my ex-wife and scaring my daughter, or just being that horrible drunk that I was and that I didn't even know.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, Dan. I love hearing that you've hit 6 years, man. That's a huge accomplishment, and I'm wishing you nothing but more, many, 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 many more years of sobriety.
Yes, thank you so much, and I have no regrets. I don't miss it, and people tell you what, not waking up with a hangover anymore. Whew,
best thing ever.
My gosh, is it so
best thing ever? And knowing what you said and did, and not having that guilt. And then, I don't know about you, but for me, like it sometimes helps me to be around people that were drinking or partying the night before, because I'm like, I'm up here at 5:00 in the morning. I just did a couple miles run and you're miserable and hating life and
exactly
all of that. And I'm like, I don't miss those days at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned before in this podcast, for people that are listening, I'm at the point where if I notice that people, like, I can be around alcohol, like I said, everyone's different. I can be around people that are drinking, but once people get to the point where they're getting drunk or sloppy drunk or they're talking my ear off, I know it's going to be a pointless conversation and things are probably going to get ugly from there. I take myself out of that situation. I take my ass home, hang out with my boys here at home, and I'm just thankful to be at the house and away from that. Usually, in most cases, people will continue having their night or whatever, and it's drama free, but I've gotten out of some bad situations too where things didn't go so well after I left, and people got sloppy and there was fights or whatever, and I'm like, I'm so glad I got out of there, because as a sober person, like that's the last thing you want to be around. I mean, when you're drunk, you don't want to be around there either, but it kind of phases you differently when you're under the influence too, and you're just like, shit happens.
Yeah.
But as a sober person, being around the chaos and the drama and all that, it's not fun, and it affects you differently.
Totally. And that made me and my wife stop hanging out with one of our neighbors because they were so toxic. They fought all the time.
Don't need that.
No.
Don't need that.
No. And she's divorced. I'm divorced. We know what works. We know what's worth fighting for. We know when to let things go. And it just, there's no more really bickering and fighting, with my life right now. And I enjoy that as well, because alcohol just makes you a better person and makes you want to just argue and fight about everything, I felt. for me too.
Yeah. And like we were talking about earlier, the reason why you're having such a great relationship right now and you're able to appreciate it and let good things go that need to go is because you've been in those ugly places, in those ugly relationships, in those situations that now you know what doesn't work. You can appreciate the good that you have now. And even when there's bad shit that happens to us, there's always a lesson to be learned that we can use for our benefit. And I think that now that you're living in peace with a good relationship and all that, it's because of those shitty situations that you were in before. And I'm glad to hear that you and the ex are able to co-parent in a positive way and get along and all that. That's awesome to hear.
Thank you. Me too, because there's not many people out there like that. And I'm thankful that my daughter can be raised this way.
I love that. And I'm sure she's very proud of you too for keeping the sobriety and seeing her parents being able to get along and co-parent. So
she does.
That's really
100%.
badass.
Yeah, she's 12, going to be 13. So yeah, going to have a teenager now. I don't know. She knows. I mean, I think my ex, and she was old enough to kind of saw and see what went down. And I think she knows the dangers of alcohol. So I hope that she can stay away from that as well.
Yeah. And you're setting a good example. You're setting a good example by showing that it wasn't worth doing that kind of stuff and that you're living a clean and sober life now. And that's the key to happiness, honestly.
It is. Yep.
Well, Dan, is there anything else you care to share with the audience?
Yes, we have.
We've reached our time here, so I want to make sure you get anything else that you want to share or anything out.
One thing I always tell people is you got to swallow your pride. Whoever you are, whatever situation you're in, go ask for help. I don't care how proudful you are, how big of a person you are, how manly you are. That doesn't mean shit, because we all are humans, and hopefully we all have a heart some way or another, and there's somebody that does love you out there and cares for you. And let me tell you, they've probably done everything that they could, but you're just too damn stubborn to listen and get the help. And I hope you can see this now and go get the help that you need.
I love that message. That's a great way to end this. And I want to thank you for sharing your story and your wisdom, Dan, and for being on the podcast.
I appreciate you having me on, and I really hope this story can inspire anyone else.
I have no doubt that it will. So thank you.
That. Thank you very much.
And that is the end of segment 2. Thank you so much for sticking around and being here with us, guys. Sorry that I was not able to put out a podcast episode last week. Like I said, I was on the road, but the hope is that we continue doing these weekly. And I wanted to give a couple of shout outs to our folks here that have the monetary contributions, which shout out to King John for contributing. And then a shout out to Eric Sheets. Love you guys. And I'm glad that we entertain you guys enough that you guys believe in us. For anyone else, excuse me, for anyone else out there that wants to contribute, there is a button that you can go on there and submit $1, $2, $3, $5, whatever on a monthly basis. Anything helps us because it does cost us to upload these editing software for the programs that we use. We just wanted to give a little update on our numbers here. I know Mariah digs this.
I like the analytics.
The analytics. So we're right now at a total of 890 downloads since we started this, which is really cool. We are at 38 countries that we've reached and territories, 206 cities that we have reached, which is nuts. Some of the new locations that recently started listening to us here are Tokyo, Rochester, New York,
Toledo, Oregon,
and then Kelowna, British Columbia.
Well, welcome. Thanks for checking us out.
Yes. And then shout out to these top countries. These are the top for the last 5 episodes, it says, or the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, France, Czechia.
I think that's Czech.
Czechia, Czech. I don't know. I'm horrible. I'm
sorry.
Excuse me. Brazil and Latvia. So shout out to all you. Please continue to contribute to our question of the week. I love hearing from you guys. I love hearing from the regulars. I love hearing from new people. If you or someone you know has a story to tell, I'm always looking for new guests.
And it can be anything.
It can be anything. If you want to share a business that you started, a struggle that you overcame, an inspiring story about getting sober, a health issue that that you've had to fight all your life, anything that's going to essentially help people and inspire and get us to learn something about you or learn something that we can apply, relate to, please reach out. The email to reach out to schedule a podcast, it would be theliquidshapepodcast@gmail.com. I'm always looking for guests, and I do want to bring back some of the former guests at some point, but right now I'm strictly tied to bringing in new guests because I just want to continue to get new folks on here for the time being. Other than that, I want to wish you all a very great week. Thank you for tuning in. I love you, motherfuckers. And I say that with all the love in the world.
We love you. Love yourself. Love you. Goodbye.
Be sure to find us on all social media platforms, follow and subscribe.